And take us with you on the ABC Listen app. Just look for the AFL button.
Something big is coming, I know.
It's the toughest test in footy, and so far in season 2024, no one has been able to overcome it. Today, it's Fremantle's turn to sit the exam. Can they topple Sydney at their fortress? It's the Swans v the Dockers, live from the Sydney Cricket Ground. And what a clash it could be. First v fifth coming into the round. The Swans 3 games clear on top with a 10-game winning streak. The Dockers, they sit 6th after the Lions' thrilling win over the Demons last night, but a chance to move up into the top 4 and maybe hold on to that spot by the time Sunday night comes. They'll have to do it the tough way, though, without their skipper Alex Pearce. He's missing for up to a month with a broken arm. Andrew Brayshaw will captain the side today. The last time these two sides met, it was under the most emotional of circumstances. Friday night at Perth Stadium, on a day the Dockers players learnt of the tragic passing of their friend and former teammate Cameron McCarthy. The Swans prevailing comfortably by 48 points on that occasion. Today the Dockers look to turn that result around and put an end to the Swans' dominance over the competition, which has stretched, well, for pretty much 14 rounds this season, given they've lost just the one game. Mitch Turner here with you in the commentary position. Terrific to be back at the SCG, and alongside me for our first time together is Daniel Garb. G'day to you, Garby.
Good afternoon, Mitch. Welcome to Sydney. Welcome to the best show in the AFL right now, and that is the Swans at present. 10 wins in a row. But they take on a Freo side that many might forget won here in round 9 last season. So they'll be buoyed by that, Justin Longmuir's side, and they've been in pretty good form over the last month. Look, it's a great thrill coming to the footy to watch the Swans at the moment. But I reckon even the most ardent Swans supporter, as much as they're enjoying these wins week after week, wants to see their team challenged, wants to see what they're like under a bit of pressure. And Fremantle might just be able to provide that this afternoon. So looking forward to it in a big way. 2 of the best young midfields in the competition going head-to-head.
A 17-point win in round 9 last year, as you say, Garby, here at the SCG. They have had some decent form on the road this year. 4 wins, 3 losses for the Dockers. Today, though, a massive test for them. Team news for today's clash. No change to the Swan side from that win over the Giants last week for the Dockers. As I mentioned, Alex Pearce goes out of the side. So too Carl Warner. Brandon Walker and Josh Draper return to the lineup. Will have their hands full with the Swans forward line. Poppy Penny is down on the boundary. We'll check in with her shortly. She'll give us the ground conditions and the subs. But before we do that, let's welcome in our experts here in the box. 2 men that have represented the crosstown rivals for both of these clubs during their careers. I speak firstly, of course, of former Swan, former Eagle, Callum Sinclair. G'day to you, Cal.
Thank you very much, and great to be here. And yes, me and Joel, I actually did play on Joel in my first ever, what do we call it, Battle of the Bridge. And we always make a gag that I had a few sharp elbows from Joel back in the centre-half forward line here at the SCG. But no, very excited to be here. And I think, Garbs, we were kind of chatting off air. It's getting a little bit boring with the Swans at the moment with how they're going. But to touch a little bit on Fremantle, coming up from, we're now sitting in 5th place. Quite an inconsistent season for them. You would look at them to be, I guess, one of the most improved teams probably over the last kind of couple of years. But you just feel like with their next 4 matches, they're playing every 10 next matches is against teams in the top 8. So we're going to get a real test of where Freo are at for the remainder of this year. You just feel like if they had a shock win today, that would just do wonders for their confidence. I don't know what you think about that, but very excited, and I'll be interested to see how Freo turn up considering Alex Pearce is out for a month.
They certainly have played some good footy at times this year, the Dockers, but it does seem every time they face the big test, they haven't quite stood up. Our other expert here, who's got a chance to return serve, maybe a little bit on Callum Sinclair, is former Lion, former Giant, Joel Patfull. G'day to you, Joel.
Thanks for having me, guys. It does seem like a long time ago, Cal, doesn't that, when we were running around here? But you had to do everything you could just to get a win on the Ruckman. So I did everything I could, all the oldest tricks in the book. But looking at the ground today, I mean, how good is it to see blue sky in Sydney? 6 out of the last weeks it's been wet here, so expecting perfect conditions and a great game of footy. For me, it's a game of the midfield. We talked about some of those players who are in such good form. Heaney, Warner, Goulden, and then Grundy. Grundy and Rowbottom as well last week were just amazing. The depth of that Sydney midfield is incredible. So a big test for Sarong, Brayshaw, Young, this young Fremantle midfield to really take it up to Sydney today.
It feels like Freo are one of the sides that can potentially match Sydney in that regard. I mean, to go with them over 4 quarters, as we know, is so incredibly difficult. But yes, Freo has some deficiencies maybe up forward, a bit of a raw key forward brigade. Alex Pearce out is a massive loss. But in the middle, Brayshaw, Sarong, Young, and then the Darcy-Jackson combination, perhaps if they get going early, they might be able to negate just a touch Sydney's abnormal strength in the midfield. So that might give Freo fans some hope of an upset this afternoon.
Yeah, well, I'd probably say on that ruck combination, I'll put it on Sam Darcy and Luke Jackson. They need to go after Grundy and go after him really early. He's been the absolute barometer for that midfield. And I know we probably, make light of me a little bit with, I guess, having a soft spot for ruckman. But I reckon it's crucial for Darcy and Jackson. I think Grundy has to walk off this ground today, win, lose or draw, knowing, wow, those two boys had a serious crack at me.
Yeah, you're right. I think on paper, the Fremantle midfield looks as good as possible to match this Sydney team, and they are so strong and there's so many assets. But Fremantle, they're a young, up-and-coming side. Like you said, Cal, you want to see him take him on. That ruck combination can really give it to Grundy as well.
As you say, terrific to see blue skies here at the SCG. I will say as well, maybe a slightly tongue-in-cheek crack at my home state of WA. It's also great to see green grass at a football ground, which I haven't seen for a little while over in the west. So the ground looks in terrific condition. We'll get those conditions a little later on. As I mentioned off the top, no Alex Pearce for the Dockers. Callum, Joel, a chance for Sydney to try and stretch that Dockers defence and maybe make someone like a Luke Ryan a bit more accountable than he normally has to be. Yeah, well, Luke's obviously going to have to play a little bit more shut down than probably what he would like to. You know what Alex Pearce does for that team, really stabilises he's their key pillar in defence. I think the challenge, Joel, that I hope you agree, is just the challenge for Freo is just where do they start on Sydney's forward line? We talk about it every week, Garbs. The spread of goal kickers and contributors on the scoreboard is just incredible. And not to mention their midfield and how quickly they're scoring. And we made the point even before the call that they just make you pay, Sydney. So I think along with, Darcy and Jackson, fair to say Ryan's got to have a really, really big game. And he has to play a little bit more lockdown, I think.
Just a stat on that quickly. So Sydney has 6 players with 20 goals or more to their name this season. Fremantle has 1. In Josh Tracy. Mm-hmm. That shows you the differences in terms of
it's a big test, isn't it?
Scoring power.
Absolutely. It's a big, and we saw that last week when Papley stepped up, kicked a few goals. Amadi didn't kick a goal last week after kicking 9 the week before. So there's so much firepower in that Swans forward line. It's where do they start with that Fremantle defence? You're right about Ryan. He's so good with ball in hand, but then we have to take that away to be more defensive minded. So definitely one of the key matchups in the game.
And we don't want to pump up the Swans too much, but we saw it. Chad Warner last week getting tagged by Bedford. Didn't have, I guess, massive influence in terms of the volume of possessions, but he popped up somehow and kicked 2 goals at, really important moments of the game. So it's just a really incredible dynamic they've got. James Rowbottom, the other one that's been on the lips of everyone this week in terms of talking about him and how his impact on the Swans, probably for a long time, is now starting to get recognised a lot more. He does tend to occasionally do some sort of role on a player. It's not necessarily a tag, but it's a head-to-head at the stoppage because he's so strong in there. Is there anyone you see today that he could go to from the Dockers? You've got Young, Sarong, Brayshaw. Is there an obvious candidate for a Rowbottom to go head-to-head with to nullify that effect?
I mean, I think he probably goes to Brayshaw inside at the stoppage and goes from there, but you're right, he's not a lockdown player anymore. He'll start at someone at the stoppage, then he'll work off them, and he did that so well last week, and he ends up getting a bit of space because teams are now looking to tag Heaney in, whether they tag Warner and Goulden, and then Rowbottom gets a bit of extra leg room as well. So it's just one of those challenges that Fremantle midfield's going to have to work through.
Yeah.
You can join the conversation with us today. Mitch Turner, Daniel Garb up here in the box, our experts alongside us, Joel Patfull and Callum Sinclair. The text line 0437 774 774. Join the conversation here on ABC Sport. The two teams are out on the ground going through their final preparations. The toss of the coin won't be too far away. As I say, Andrew Brayshaw will lead the Dockers today in the absence of Alex Pearce. in what has big ramifications for the Dockers this game. Not so much for the Swans, who are 3 wins clear on top, and it's incredible that they have already created such a big buffer. The other player, I guess, to talk about who's shone for the Dockers and has probably been the shining light from the entire team this year is Josh Tracy, Joel and Cal. And who do you see going to him from the Swans? What's the best matchup there? A couple of players down back that could go with him, but who do you expect to see line up against him today?
Well, I'll be quite curious to see what happens. I think someone like him, Tom McCartan's probably going to be the obvious one. I think if Tom just locks down someone like him, that's kind of Tom's role. He's not the most offensive player in that defence, but you wouldn't send someone like Blakey to him or anything like that. You want Blake's being incredibly offensive as possible. But I think we saw it last week. I guess the Swans' defence and their support in the air guards, which we made comment of last week, they just seemed really, really well synced. Really got a really good dynamic down there. But I think Tom McCartan or Lewis Melican will get the job.
The toss of the coin has been done in the middle of the ground. Dane Rampy is the winner of that. He will kick to the Randwick end, him and his Swans side. So an early win for the Swans. It's time now probably to introduce our 5th member of the commentary team today. Down on the boundary is Poppy Penny. Poppy.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day down here. You keep touching on that blue sky. It's coming from behind us, though. There is some grey cloud, which is making me a little bit nervous. There is a little bit of a breeze coming across the ground from the broadcast side where you guys are having a look at the benches. Hayden McLean, Harry Cunningham, Sam Wicks and Braden Campbell start on the bench for the Swans, with Caden Cleary in for his second game as the sub again. And for the Dockers, Hayden Young, Corey Wagner, Bailey Banfield and Matthew Johnson will start on the bench. And James Aish is the sub for the Dockers today.
James Aish, an unusual selection potentially for the sub. I can't recall him being the sub in the past. He's barely missed a game since coming over from Collingwood a number of years ago now. So maybe just a slight rest for James Aish as we see the two teams have broken from their huddles, heading to position here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. To say the Dockers will kick to the Paddington end, which is the left of your radio dial. The Swans to the right, the Randwick end. Quick tip before we start play. Cal, Joel, your tips today?
Yeah, for me it's the Swans by 4 goals-ish. I think just too strong today.
Yeah, I think the Swans, but I'm going to say it's going to be a bit of a nail-biter. I think Freo have got a point to prove.
Swans v the Dockers live from the SCG. It's all to play for in front of us. For the opening bounce, here's Daniel Garb.
James Jordan straight to Jordan Clark. So he reprises that tagging role from earlier in the season. Grundy wins the first tap down to Rowbottom, but the Dockers win it back. Sarong snaps it to centre half forward. Blakey picks it up though off the line for Sydney. To Rowbottom, and now McInerney. His kick is an up and under to the wing. Chapman does well to work his opponent off the football. Now the Dockers come away with it from half back. Here's Luke Ryan. Just guides one to half forward. It's a lovely pass to Sam Switkowski at left half forward. If he's right boot, looks for a lead and finds one in the form of Jai Amos. So the Dockers with the first mark inside 50. And Jai Amos, the boy from Bustleton, to kick from 40 out on a slight angle to the left, looking for the first goal of the game for Freo.
Probably interrupted there your call, guys, but what a terrific kick that was by Luke Ryan, particularly in the early stage of the game. What terrific composure just to pick that one off, but would be a great start for Fremantle if they can knock over this first goal of the game. Would be great for their confidence as a group.
So Jai Amos, the boy from Bustleton, at the other end of the ground. There's a boy from Bunbury, Logan McDonald, at full forward for the Swans. Amos, in search of his 20th goal of the season, finds it. Lovely start, Fremantle. The first goal on the board. They are 1 straight 6. Sydney, who are yet to take the ball over halfway, yet to score, and Jai Amos provides it.
Well, it's a perfect start for the Fremantle Footy Club, and you talked about that skill level of halfback Ryan. That's what he's there for, pierce that defence, and that's the way you get through this Swans defence. They want to zone and protect space, but if you can hit that lead up, short, low pass, it's very hard to defend. Perfect start.
And I think it'll be interesting to see how Freo play this ground, Joel. You know, used to playing at Optus Stadium every week. Fair bit of run, big open space, so they're probably going to have to get their contested game probably lifted to a new level today against the Swans on a smaller deck at the SCG.
Well, Daniel Garb, you said before the game, only one Docker has kicked 20 goals. Jai Amos has just changed that, so it lasted all of 2 minutes as he gets his 20th goal. 20 goals, 19, not the most accurate of years for Jai Amos, but that'll do his confidence a world of good as the ball's back in the middle. Grundy got his way to the front. Darcy with a hand over the shoulder has given away the free kick. Grundy wants to move it quickly. Kicks inside the attacking 50. At the back of the pack is Clark, reading the ball well. He's able to take the intercept mark for the Dockers. Speaking of players having strong years, Jordan Clark, certainly one of them. Two of the best halfbacks in the game going at it today with Blakey and Clark at either end. The ball comes out to the wing. It's punched away off the hands of the Swan and goes out of bounds for a boundary throw-in. 70 metres around from the Swans' attacking goal. It's the Dockers, 1 straight 6. Sydney yet to score here on ABC Sport.
Important for Jordan Clark to take that defensive mark early. James Jordan, as we said, tagging him like he did earlier in the season. The padlock for the Swans, they call him. Ball's just outside, attacking 54, Sydney. Happily gets hands to it. And the Swans have coughed it up. Fife to Sarong and now Brayshaw at half-back. Sends it up to the wing and Amos, fresh off kicking the first goal of the game, takes a strong mark and now plays on to Chapman. He can send Freo inside 50 again. Sturt's underneath it and takes the grab. Sam Sturt overheads. He'll kick from 10 metres out directly in front. Fremantle with a fantastic start at the SCG.
I really like that kick, Joel. Potentially to the top of the goal square. Really giving the Freo forwards a chance. I think probably one of the teams that have struggled against the Swans is when they kind of rush a quick kick to kind of that half-forward line. Because you see the boost of the Swans off half-back, but, geez, it's been a good start from Freo.
Long run up here for Sam Sturt. More akin to Glenn McGrath at the SCG. And all that matters is guiding this through for Freo's second of the game. And Sturt has managed to do that. Made the goal umpire work. But he has kicked true. So Amos and now Sturt with majors for Fremantle. They are 2 straight 12. The 10 win in a row. Sydney Swans yet to score.
Well, they've made their intentions clear on how they want to move the ball. We talked about Optus and how free-flowing it is, but mark on the wing and a quick handball before it even got off the ground. Really, it gets that Swans defenders off of track because they want to zone so heavily. And then the long kick over the back, McCartan out of position, and great ball movement. And that's the way you got to beat this Swans defense. You got to move quickly, you got to change the angles, and you got to put them out of position.
And that ball movement started at half back. I just watched Isaac Heaney playing on Nat Fife. Isaac Heaney tried to spit forward, but Nat Fife actually stayed in the contest, won a contested ball, and created that strong ball movement off half back. Be interesting to see that matchup today at stoppage. Heaney v Fife.
2 quick goals for the Dockers. Ball back in the middle, off hands from the ruck contest. Young fed the handball out to Brayshaw. Spilt it though. Coming through is McInerney. Sold a bit of candy. Was able to find Rowbottom on the release. The long kick inside 50. Vacant goal square. Going back was Amati. The ball beat him. Travelled over the behind line. So it's the Swans' first score. They're 1 straight behind. The Dockers 2 straight 12. An 11-point margin. 5 minutes played here at the Sydney Cricket Ground.
Luke Ryan wants to move things on quickly. He'll kick towards Tracy and Darcy. Big leap from Grundy. And the Swans gather it at half forward. McInerney goes into the corridor and finds Rowbottom. 65 out from the Swans attacking goals. Goes long now inside 50. Big pump from Draper. It falls the way of Wicks. There is Wagner though. Read it well. Poked it over the top and found Sharp in the back pocket.
Jeremy Sharp playing that far wing role today for the Dockers. Plenty of good runners out there from both sides as he takes off out of the back pocket, kicks long to the wing. Going across to the mark was Blake. He couldn't take it. Brayshaw was able to pick it up off the deck. Found it at C-mate and Amos. His handball hit the back of Matthew Johnson. Regathered, spun in a tackle. The Swans have turned it over. Goulden broke the tackle, fell to ground. Then Brayshaw was taken to ground. It's a hot footy in the middle. Rowbottom's dispossessed, and finally the umpire blows the whistle.
Good umpiring, I thought that. Let it play out a little bit.
This will be 50 because there was a bit going on between Brayshaw and Adams has grabbed Andrew Brayshaw's leg just off the play there and tripped him up, and the umpire saw it. So Luke Jackson, who has the free kick for the Dockers, has been marched all the way to centre half forward.
Short 50.
Short ground.
Agreed. Under 9's 25.
Malikan is manning the mark. Luke Jackson starts his run up from right next to the centre circle. We'll have a shot for a terrific start for the Dockers. Oh. Jackson strikes it well, strikes it pure, and he likes it. The Dockers have got the first 3 of the game, and they've come out and stunned the Swans early. 3 straight 18 the Dockers just the one behind of the Swans. A 17-point margin, 7 minutes played. Mitch Turner here alongside Daniel Garb for Saturday Footy on ABC Sports. Our experts Joel Patfull and Callum Sinclair.
Tell you what, Joel, if you were a Freo supporter over West, waking up and having your brunch, you'd be very, you'd be very happy at the moment with your start.
Well, you would, wouldn't you?
It's cheaper than Sydney too.
You would. It's the intensity around the bowl. I mean, you can tell the way that a team comes out with their energy around the footy. The spread, their first 5 steps has been really impressive, and Sydney just haven't been able to match that. And we've seen this a little bit in the past, whether Sydney can come out and lapse a little bit. What a start to the game.
Freo 3 straight 18. Sydney 1 behind. Early stages of the first term at the SCG, and the Dockers win it out the middle again. Young over the top to Fife. Well done by Warner to get a hand in on that Fife handball and win it back to the Swans. Goulden back to Warner. Tries to dart around. Good pressure from Freo. They affect the kick. Up and under in the middle of the ground. McInerney outmarked O'Meara. Umpire said play on. Said it didn't go 15. And O'Meara wins it back. Through the corridor, looking for the lead of Jackson. Bounces over his head. Blakey picks it up, but they swarm on him. Excellent start, Freo, in terms of their pressure. Cunningham's deep in defence, and he gets some relief with the pass to Campbell in the back pocket.
Well done, Freo. Their pressure's been absolutely superb at the start of this game.
Campbell rolls and plays on. Normally good by foot. Kicks it up to the wing. Flying from behind was McLean. Was able to effect a spoil. Draper was immediately gang tackled by a couple of Swans. It'll be a ball up. Centre wing here, slightly favouring the Dockers. Darcy tapped it out, straight to Goulden. Tried to snap it on his right. It was smothered by Johnson. Young did well to give it back to Johnson. Kicks it now inside the forward 50 for the Dockers. And Malikan does well to take the intercept mark and goes short to centre half back and has a teammate in Hayward.
Hayward wants to play on quickly. The man he intended to pass it to, Papley, slipped over. That allowed Chapman to gather it on the wing, kick along into attack, but a bit of a rush of blood to the head. He set up Sturt's goal early on, Chapman. That was a little bit too strong, the kick. Went straight to Melican. Short to Lloyd in the back pocket. Sends it up to the wing. And Rampy marks.
Just 9.5 minutes played so far as Rampy tries to hit Goulden on the short pass inside and kicked it straight to Sam Switkowski, who's got to wait for numbers to flood back. All the players retreating in defence. Now he has a player ahead of the ball, and a teammate in O'Meara takes the mark. He's 55 from home. Right half forward, kicks it into the pocket, looking for Jackson. Found space, found time, takes the mark out in front of Harry Cunningham. Will go back and kick from about 45 metres out on a very tight angle to the right for Freo's 4th.
Tom McCartan really wasn't happy there. He tried to hand over with, might have been Dane Rampy or Justin McInerney. He was absolutely fuming seeing Luke Jackson take an uncontested mark inside 50, asking a lot of questions of his Swans defence.
Has a big task today, Luke Jackson. Part of that double team taking on Brodie Grundy. Already has one major to his name. This is a tough kick from a tough angle, and he can't work it back enough. It's a minus score to the left. 3-1-19, the Dockers. One straight behind is the score for the Swans. An 18-point margin, 10.5 played.
Lloyd has it in the back pocket. We've seen this before, Freo fans. Don't get too excited just yet. Carlton, Geelong and Adelaide all had similar starts against Sydney and then were blitzed. But it's been a fantastic beginning to this game from your team. Here the Swans have it though on the wing. It's set up nicely for Papley. Handball over the top to Logan McDonald. He guides it towards McLean, who has marked it. Overhead, one-on-one down there with Luke Ryan, and it's set up perfectly. The pass from Logan McDonald to McLean. He'll kick from 20 out, slight angle to the right.
That's that one with probably missing Alex Pearce down there. He's the obvious matchup for McLean, one-on-one in the goal square. Just slightly undersized, isn't he, Ryan?
Good composure there from Hayden McLean, just keeping his feet, not going to ground. Important kick for his game and definitely the Swans.
Kicked 2 goals last week in the derby, Hayden McLean. He's got the first for the Swans this afternoon. So Fremantle 3-1-19, Sydney 1-1-7. We've got 11.5 minutes in the first term here at the SCG on ABC Sport. Daniel Garb here with you alongside Mitch Turner, former Eagle and Swan Cal Sinclair, 2-time best and fairest winner at the Brisbane Lions in Joel Patfull. And the Swans respond after Freo's brilliant start.
Well, it wouldn't quite be a bottomless brunch yet for the Freo fans over there in WA, but I'll tell you what, they have started well, and a really important goal there from the Swans just to kind of get back. But it has all been Freo, and I think they've shown some really good fits, some foot skills. But I think probably, Joel, and I hope you agree, it's just been their pressure around the contest, their ability to make the Swans jumpy. You've seen a few turnovers, which are unlike the Swans, so well done to Freo.
The Randwick end sees its first goal of the day through the boot of Hayden McLean. The Swans finally on the board. They trail by 12 points. They're 7-7 in opening quarters this season. However, we all know post that, they are quite remarkable as the ball's back in the middle. Johnson takes it away from the ruck contest, gives it to Young, kick inside the forward 50. Tracy taps it down to Switkowski, feeds the handball wide to Sharp, slips as he was looking for a teammate, had to retreat to Sarong, managed to get away from Warner, gave it to Young, his kick inside the forward 50, found the leading target of Michael Frederick. He will go back, have the shot, slightly worse than a 45-degree angle to the left. He'll kick from just inside the 50.
We said we wanted to see the Swans challenge today, and they're certainly doing that. And they're challenging them in all aspects. Like you said, the intensity around the ball, but their ball use has been outstanding. 81% disposal efficiency.
Right behind the kick as Frederick makes his approach. The strike wasn't great off the boot. It was always away to the left. It's another minus score. So 3-2-20 the Dockers, 1-1-7 the Swans, 13.5 played in the opening quarter.
At Docklands, the Bulldogs 2-3-15. North Melbourne yet to score as Blakey sends it out to the wing. McLean's in front of young Hugh Davies in his second game. Unlucky not to get a free kick for a high hit there, Hugh Davies, from McLean. Instead, we'll have a ball up. Sunny day at the SCG. On the wing, Grundy palms it down to Heaney. Back to Florent. And then Papley at the back of the stoppage to send it up to half forward. Well roved by McInerney off the hands of McLean. Open goal square, tries to chisel it through. Had a bit more time than perhaps he knew, Justin McInerney. And
Will Hayward seems sore, I think. Is that Will?
Goes over the boundary line for a boundary throw in next to the behind post. Yeah, it is. Will Hayward is just limping. Copped a knock to the ankle, perhaps. 3-2-20 Fremantle. Swans 1-1-7. Boundary throw in forward pocket for the Swans.
So even the Swans attack. Jackson gets to the front. Heaney tried to shark it off the contest. Did so eventually. Handballed it though straight to Davies of the Dockers. Now through Wagner. They're able to work it outside defensive 50. The kick is perfect on the outlet. Straight into the outstretched arms of Sam Switkowski, who takes the mark just beyond left half back. Has nothing to go to, so has to retreat a long way back inside defensive 50 to Ryan. The Swans doing a good job of shutting down most of the outlets. Goes out to the second gamer in Hugh Davies. Still inside defensive 50, finds Walker. The Dockers moving it slow and patiently. Walker's kick towards Young was knocked away by Warner. Falls to Papley, 55 from home. Sees something he likes in the pocket, over the top. And a kick was perfect. And managed to find Wicks. He'll have to kick from a tight angle in the right pocket. We are right behind the kick though.
It's one of those unusual distances, Joel, where you tend to get a bit shaky with these ones. A bit of an awkward angle, but
he's going with the banana, and as Cal Sinclair says, bends it through perfectly. So the Swans have two in a row after the Dockers kick the first three. This time it's through the boot of Sam Wicks. The Swans are starting to work their way back into this contest in the opening term. They reduce the margin to 7 points, so we quickly go downstairs to Poppy Penny.
Yeah, Will Hayward has gone, he's going straight down to the rooms now. There's some strapping on that right knee, and that's sort of what he's been grabbing at, but he's limping down the rooms now with the doctor.
Didn't look too happy, Will Hayward, shaking his head as he went down the race. There's some frustration for him, an important player for the Swans, but we saw the Swans do what they do best there. They just squeezed Freo in their own defensive 50, didn't they, Cal, and forced a turnover.
Well, it is interesting. I think the Swans actually like it when they other teams decide to switch. Their forwards empty out really, really well, and I think when they switch, they go, this is going to be a great opportunity for a turnover.
Two in a row for the Swans, but Freo still lead by 7 points halfway through the first term. Sarong has plenty of time in the middle of the ground to just tap it to himself and then get it back to Wagner at half-back. His kick is misguided, though. Picked off by McInerney. The Swans go inside 50 again. And James Jordan does this with such regularity. He's manned up on a half-back, but he pops up in space and takes a mark inside 50. He'll have a kick on a slight angle to the left from just outside 50, the man they call the padlock. Tasked with stopping Jordan Clark today. He might put some hurt on at the other end. To bring the margin back to 1 point, James Jordan for his 8th goal this season. Hits the post. Nice effort. Swans go to 2-2-14. Fremantle a 3-2-20. 17 minutes gone first term on ABC Sport.
So, slight let-off there maybe for the Dockers as they bring the ball back into play. Clark has it now. Looking to make them play a little bit on the other end as he finds the outlet kick wide to Sharp here on the broadcast wing. Right below our commentary position. Campbell mans the mark. Sharp runs around, plays on, kicks it towards half forward. Darcy's there for the Dockers, couldn't take the mark. McLean spilt it at the back. Coming through the pack is Tracy. Somehow gets a handball out to space. Sarong under pressure from Campbell. Maybe we got a free kick for a push in the back. The umpire let it play on. It ends up with Brayshaw. Kicks it inside the attacking 50 again, trying to take the mark. There was Sturt, couldn't, was bodied off it. Falls the way of Heaney, and the Swans kick it out to the wing and they're out.
Heaney puts it out in front of McInerney, who marks well. He's been really busy, Justin McInerney. Possession number 7 coming up for him, so he leads all disposal getters on the ground. Goes centrally to Heaney, who darts around Sturt, now kicks the Swans inside 50. It bounces in front of Logan McDonald on his left, just pokes it into a more dangerous area. It sits up and McLean, who snaps on goal. Amati's got front position and he'll just juggle it through. Eventually Foray behind, couldn't take the mark. So Sydney doing all of the attacking in the last 7 minutes or so. They're 2-3-15, Fremantle 3-2-20.
But they've been able to get their game back on their terms. It's that slow play when they can hold Fremantle up and they're not getting exposed on that quick play. This is how they like the game played.
Clark goes long to the edge of the centre square, off hands. Heaney was dispossessed in the tackle. Falls to Campbell, wants to get back on his left side. High up and under inside the attacking 50 for the Swans. Chapman spilt the mark. Walker read it well. Gave it to Sturt. Now Sarong through the middle of the SCG. Kicks up towards a leading Young. Strong mark. Opposed to Dane Rampy. Terrific hands. Kicks inside the forward 50 and Tracy marks in front. How's the hands from Hayden Young, a midfielder playing on the calibre defender of Dane Rampy, and got it to stick.
That's the third time Dane's been outmarked for this quarter in a crucial one-on-one. Just kind of interested to see Fife. It's not a hard tag, but he seems to be kind of looking to have the responsibility of Isaac Heaney. And unfortunately, Fife just appears to moment to be kind of second to the contest, but not taking away from some great passage of play from Freo just then.
28 goals for the season for Josh Tracy. Normally beautiful from the set shot, and he delivers again this time. The Dockers answer back. They get their 4th goal. Josh Tracy gets his first. They push the margin back out again, this time to 11 points. 4-2-26 Fremantle, 2-3-15 Sydney, an 11-point margin. 20 played here in the opening term. Mitch Turner alongside Daniel Garb. With us in the box, Joel Patfull and Callum Sinclair.
Well, that's a perfect example of that quick play we talked about. They were getting held up in their back 50. They couldn't find an exit, and the Swans were able to turn that over. That time they got the ball through the middle, hit that lead up like you said, Cal, and then a quick decision inside 50. And you got to turn those Swans defenders around and come back at the footy, creating space inside 50, and a great goal. We talked about Tracy and how important he is to this team. He's a real focal point for that forward line, a strong marking target that they haven't had up there for a while.
Tracy, Jackson, Sturt and Amos with the majors for the Dockers, who lead by 11 points and win the clearance again for the best clearance player in the competition, Caleb Sarong. Kicks Freo inside 50 off the hands of Tracy. A couple of Swans defenders hit the ground. Tracy's handball, though, went straight to James Rowbottom. He got it to Taylor Adams at the back of the square. And they find this man again, Justin McInerney.
Oh, here we go.
Who has had plenty of it. Puts it out in front of Errol Goulden. This is trouble. Goulden from 40 misses. A rarity for the young Swan superstar, fresh off his 3rd Brett Kirk medal last week. It's a behind, and the margin is 10 points. Fremantle 4-2-26, Sydney 2-4-16.
Speaking of Brett Kirk, Dane Rampy goes past Brett Kirk today on Sydney's games list. 242 for Dane Rampy today as the Swans are able to turn the ball back over on the wing. McCartan took the mark opposed to Tracy. Got a nice round of applause from the Swans faithful. Goes wide to Grundy. Wants a player to lead up at him. McInerney did. Ignored that though. Kicks further afield. McLean flies from the back. Couldn't take it. Almost got it on the second attempt. did the roving at ground level, couldn't get a boot to it, diving in for the Dockers. At the bottom of the pack is Wagner. He's on top of the ball. Wicks is on top of him. Maybe lucky to get away with just a ball up in the end there. He was on top of it. It'll be a ball up inside the Swans attacking 50.
Grundy and Darcy wrestling. Darcy palms it down, but straight to Taylor Adams. Picked up, though, by Brayshaw after Adams left it behind. Ball's just outside 50 for the Swans. Frederick does well to beat Campbell to the football. Umpire said the ball had gone over, so boundary throw in. Looked like Frederick might have kept it in for a moment.
Would have been a good effort from Frederick there with 3v1. Campbell, Warner, McInerney all around him.
Boundary throw in. Right half forward for the Swans. Grundy and Darcy. A fascinating ruck battle this is going to be. Darcy wins front position, palms it straight down to Chad Warner, who was caught holding the ball, didn't dispose of it effectively. Good tackle on him by Matt Johnson, and he wins the free kick at left half back for Freo.
Josh Tracy has kicked a goal in every game so far this season. Only a couple of players in the competition to do so. Ball out to the wing. Jackson in front, tapped it down. Switkowski did the roving, got it to Amos, had to feed the handball off to Brayshaw. Did well to stand up in the tackle. Retreating to Darcy, then to Sarong. Kicked as he was pushed and turns it over. Falls into the arms of Braden Campbell. He's had a little bit of it early. Burst onto the scene a little bit a couple of years ago as part of that young Swans core. Still a valuable player to the side. His kick up this time, though, towards half-boards. Turned over. It's off hands to Wagner. Frederick now has it just back of centre half-back. Switches the play, and Clark has it just beyond right half-back.
Need to be careful here, Freo. As Cal Sinclair said, this is what Sydney like. Just to trap you in your own defensive half of the ground and then force the turnover. They've been caught out a couple of times, Fremantle, so far. Wagner sends it to half-forward. Blakey has front position. There's a free kick, though, to Amos, though, who was held by Melican. So Amos wins the free kick. 55 out. 45-degree angle. Distance probably an issue for him. So he'll just choose to spot this up, Jai Amos, to a dangerous area. Sturt's there, and Sturt marks. Well, he just worked his way to the front of that contest. His Swans opponent failed to go with him. It's Melican down there, and Sam Sturt took the overhead mark, and he'll kick for his second of this first quarter. Slight angle to the right, only 10 metres out.
It was a great mark from Sturt. I think he was a little bit unlucky with Brodie Grundy just losing his feet. And I think Sean Darcy had a bit of a sigh of relief because he needed to engage Grundy there. But nonetheless, Freo take a great mark inside 50 and they're having a shot on goal.
Fantastic start to this game by the Fremantle Dockers to send the margin back out to 16 points. Sam Sturt punches the fist because he sent it straight through for his second of this first term. Fremantle 5-2-32. Sydney at 2-4-16. Down to Poppy Penny on the boundary.
Yeah, good news for Swans fans. Will Hayward has just come up from the rooms and he's gone straight back onto the field. He had tape on that right knee and it seems to be taken off. The Swans have said he went down to the rooms, had that knee checked, and he's back out there.
Well, they'll be disappointed without their Sydney defence. It's one thing that they pride themselves on is that slow play, long kick inside 50 to the top of the goal square. You've got to have representation there from a key defender, or like you said, Cal Ruckman. Unfortunately, Grundy slipped over, and they're the little things that shows maybe you might be 5% off. Your key defender should be coming through and killing that contest.
Not wearing the right boots, Joel.
Maybe.
Old school.
Maybe. Get the screw ins in.
Meanwhile, at Docklands, the 3-point margin the way of the Dogs. Back here at the SCG, ball bursting out of the middle through Papley. Kicks long towards the goal square. It's over the head of the wrestling Amati and Draper. It's through for a minus score. So the Swans move 2-5-17. The Dockers 5-2-32. Reverse the scores. 26 minutes played in the opening term here on ABC Sport.
How's the cornrow battle between Amati and Draper in that contest?
Yes, sir.
Serious hairstyles going on there as Walker sends it out to Amira. He has plenty of space. Heaney chases him, so he needs to dispose of it. Does well to knock it over the top to Sturt, but Melican read it brilliantly. Closed on Sturt than Melican and won it back. Kicks it up the wing, over the head of Heaney and Walker. Papley and Wagner happy to see it out. Under the Bill O'Reilly stand, outer wing. Beautiful Saturday afternoon at the SCG, and a beautiful start by Fremantle. 5-2-32, Sydney at 2-5-17.
You can text in 0437 774 774. your fearless leader here in Sydney's listening in, and he's texted in. Brett Spriggan said, meanwhile, Rory Lobb is playing fullback for the Dogs today. Fremantle got no Alex Pearce. Maybe he'll come back to the Dockers.
That's unlike Luke Beveridge.
The ball goes towards half forward. Clearing kick from Warner. Back up the wing for the Swans. Draper this time got in front of Amati in that battle of the cornrows. Won it well. Got through traffic. Found it leading Amos. Moves it quickly inside to Sarong. He sees something in the forward 50 he likes. The two big men are there. Jackson was able to get it off hands. Turned his opponent inside out. Kicks it to the top of the square.
Oh, wow.
Banfield! Under pressure from a number of Swans, stood in front, took the mark cleanly, and will go back and have a set shot from almost directly in front, about 20 to 25 metres out.
Joel, don't get me wrong, terrific mark, but how about Luke Jackson just keeping his feet there for a guy that's 203, 204 centimetres? He is moving like a midfielder there on the boundary line of 2v1.
He's definitely got the right boots on today, Jackson,
nice.
The way he's moving.
So dangerous, Bailey Banfield, when he plays forward. This kick is just squeezing in the left upright. He rode it all the way home, did Bailey Banfield, and he celebrated truly when it went through. The Dockers have another one. 6 goals to 38. They lead the Swans 2-5-17. It's a 21-point margin late in the opening quarter. We know the Swans don't always start well in season 2024, but they're giving themselves some work to do early.
Well, 7 marks inside 50 for the Fremantle forwards, which is something that the Swans wouldn't have had for a long time. Their defence prides themselves on being hard to play against.
Yeah.
And a lot of them have been top of the goal square, 20, 30 metres out, which is that key zone for marks inside 50. So definitely something to look at with their defenders, whether they tighten up a little bit. We know they zone hard, but is there a time where you've got to come back and play a bit more man-on-man?
The voice of Joel Patfull and ABC Sport. Will Fremantle be the team to stop Sydney's 10-match winning run? Long way to go, but they lead by 21 points late in the first term, and they've won it out of the middle again. Brayshaw to Young, and now Switkowski from 40 out. Puts another one through for Fremantle. What a first quarter it has been from the Dockers. They lead by 27 points. Straight out of the middle, they get it to Switkowski at centre half forward. And off his right, he sends it through. The SCG, shell-shocked.
Just shows the importance of centre clearances there, Jolie. But far out, this is probably the best quarter of football Freo have played all year. This is terrific kick there, about 45 out, directly in front of goal. But just the importance of Brayshaw. Look how clean he is by his hands. Excellent finish there from Freo. And I'll tell you what, they've got a bit of work to do, the Swans.
It's by far and away their best opening term of the season, the Dockers. 7 goals, 2. Hadn't kicked more than 5 in a game this season in the opening quarter, and that was in Alice Springs against the Demons, where they absolutely trounced them. Ball back in the middle, still time for a score either way. Kick goes towards half forward for the Swans. Adams takes the mark, turns, looking for Amati in the pocket. Hayward going back in front. Beat both of them. Amati did well, though, to gather at ground level. Spotted something he liked inside, kicks it into the middle of the 50. And Fife stood up strong, took the mark. And if he can navigate this safely in the last few seconds, he should take us to the quarter-time siren. And wow, what a statement in the opening term from the Fremantle Dockers. They have stunned the Swans here at the SCG. 7 goals to 44. The Swans 2-5-17, a 27-point margin at the first break. The Dockers all over the Swans in that opening term, looking to move back up into the top 4. The Swans taste defeat at home for the first time this season. The goal kickers for both sides of the Dockers. Sam Sturt has 2. Luke Jackson, Jai Amos, Josh Tracy, Sam Switkowski and Bailey Banfield, all with singles. For Sydney, Hayden McLean and Sam Wicks, both with 1 apiece, the only 2 goal scorers for Sydney today. Mitch Turner here alongside Daniel Garb, Joel Patfull and Callum Sinclair are with us. We'll get their thoughts in just a moment. Saturday footy on ABC Sport, streaming on the ABC Listen app, on ABC Radio and on Sport Digital. This is Saturday footy on ABC Sport.
It's the most magical time of the year, right?
footy season. This season, you can get your footy live and ad-free on the ABC Listen app.
Unbelievable.
AFL, NRL, men's, women's. Whatever you fix, we've got you covered.
He does, he bounces it through.
Every goal, try, mark and tackle, called by ABC Sports expert commentary team.
A wonderful goal. Game, set, bingo.
100% pure footy, live and ad-free on the ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
It's a lovely pass to Sam Switkowski at left half forward. If his right boot looks for a lead and finds one in the form of Jai Amos. So the Dockers with the first mark inside 50. And Jai Amos, the boy from Bustleton, kicked from 40 out on a slight angle to the left, looking for the first goal of the game for Freo. Amos, in search of his 20th goal of the season, finds it. Lovely start, Fremantle. Chapman, he can send Freo inside 50 again. Sturt's underneath it and takes the grab. Sam Sturt overhead. He'll kick from 10 metres out directly in front. Fremantle with a fantastic start at the SCG. Long run up here for Sam Sturt. More akin to Glenn McGrath at the SCG. And all that matters is guiding this through for Freo's second of the game. Sturt has managed to do that. Made the goal umpire work, but he has kicked true. Handball over the top to Logan McDonald. He guides it towards McLean, who has marked it. Overhead, one-on-one down there with Luke Ryan. He'll kick from 20 out, slight angle to the right. 2 goals last week in the derby, Hayden McLean. He's got the first for the Swans this afternoon.
Balls to Papley, 55 from home. Sees something he likes in the pocket, over the top. And the kick was perfect. And managed to find Wicks. He'll have to kick from a tight angle. He's going with the banana, and as Cal Sinclair says, bends it through perfectly. So the Swans have 2 in a row after the Dockers kicked the first 3. Gave it to Sturt, now Sarong through the middle of the SCG. Kicks up towards a leading Young, strong mark. Opposed to Dane Rampy, terrific hands, kicks inside the forward 50 and Tracy marks in front. 28 goals for the season for Josh Tracy, normally beautiful from the set shot, and he delivers again this time. The Dockers answer back.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Fremantle's best opening quarter since round 22, 2021. They kicked 8 goals against the Eagles. They kicked 7 goals to 44 in that opening term here at the SCG against the Swans, who are 2-5-17. They lead by 27 points. Mitch Turner here alongside Daniel Garb, our expert in the box, former Lion, former Giant, Joel Patfull, former Swan, former Eagle, Callum Sinclair.
Tell you what, Joel, I think one thing we probably criticised, to be honest, on our behalf, is probably Freo's just maybe lack of total contributors. But looking at the goal scorers, Sturt, Tracy, Jackson, Banfield, Amos, Switkowski, it's really the opposite. I think if you were Justin Longmuir, you'd be very impressed with just the overall contribution that their whole team is actually making. You know, even someone like Nat Fyfe, whose numbers are probably down this year, he seems to be, relatively keeping Isaac Heaney under control. But fair few concerns of the Sydney Swans. I'm just looking at the Swans huddle here. John Longmire, very animated, but they just seem a little bit off, don't you think, Swans?
They do, and all it takes is 5 or 10% in a game like this. The comp's too close to not play your best footy. But you're right, that Fremantle have almost played the perfect quarter of footy. As an away team at the SCG, they couldn't have done much more to start the game. And like you said, Sarong's had 10 touches, Young 7 in the middle. That midfield that we talked about, it's really taken it to those Swans players. Heaney, Goulden, 4 touches. Warner's only had 2. And Grundy as well, like you said, has only had 2 touches. So it's probably that battle of the midfield that Fremantle are really taking it to them, getting that ball forward, and they're spreading the load inside 50. But more importantly, they're hitting targets. They're getting 7 marks inside 50. Yep. Disposal efficiencies through the roof, and they've played. I'd almost say it's almost the perfect game, the perfect quarter of footy.
Bit of a subdued rendition of Sweet Caroline, considering the score here at the SCG. Freo by 27 points. The clearances are key. 11 to Freo, 6 to Sydney, and Sarong doing the damage there, as he so often does. The number 1 clearance player statistically in the competition. So he has 10 disposals, 3 clearances, 5 score involvements. Young with 7. Really likes Switkowski's game. He's had 6 disposals so far. And for Sydney, Grundy, just the 2 disposals. So Darcy doing a great job on him in the middle of the ground. McInerney has 8, Blakey 7, Rowbottom 6. they've been the prime movers for the Swans. Here's Mitch Turner on ABC Sport.
Second quarter underway. A wayward bounce in the middle. Umpire let it go. Crashing through Heaney. Was taken immediately by Brayshaw and a strong tackle. Plenty of tough bodies in the middle of that contest here at the SCG. Fife read it off the pack, trying to get a handball away, couldn't. Adams came through, lost it, and then crashing through with Switkowski. Sarong stood up in traffic, tumbled the ball towards half forward, but Blakey was able to read it. Has a player out wide in space. It's Grundy. Kick wasn't perfect to him. Had to wait for it to sit up, go back and get it. And then eventually just a short chip backwards to Tom McCartan. Interestingly enough, opening quarters, the worst quarters for both these sides this year. Both haven't been great first quarter teams. The kick goes up the wing and McLean takes a terrific mark. Deep in the pack, has a target short in Warner, takes the mark, plays on, runs to 50, gets under the kick to the goal face, players flying over the top. Johnson there for the Dockers was able to knock it through off the pack for a minor score. So Sydney 2-6-18, the Dockers 7-2-44, 26-point margin. Opening minute here for the second quarter at the SCG Saturday afternoon footy on ABC Sport. Daniel Guard.
Just Warner's third disposal. It is being watched closely by the Fremantle midfielders, and Fife did well to...
And their scouts.
And their scouts, indeed.
Cha-ching.
Apply some pressure on Warner as yet. That shot on goal just affected us slightly. Free over the ball inside their own defensive 50. That's a clever kick from Ryan to spot up Sarong. He now goes to centre half back. Possession number 12 from Sarong to Walker. He'll switch it to the outer side wing. Marked by Matt Johnson. With his left boot, pokes it over the top to Sturt. 2 goals to his name already in this game. A long way from home though. Smack bang on the wing. Swans have numbers behind the ball, so he'll switch it to the deepest man in defence in Luke Ryan. Ryan goes short to Chapman. Nice to see him injury-free, but he's turned that over to Melican, who read it well. Swans were set up superbly. Now they can go with a quick transition. Hayward, and now to McLean at centre half forward. Wants to play on fast and does so for the lead of McInerney. You can't turn the ball over against these Swans. They'll make you pay, and McInerney has the chance to do that to the maximum with a kick from 50 out directly in front.
No, you certainly can't, Garbs, and probably just a couple of key highlights to start this quarter. We had McLean, some couple of really strong grabs, and terrific intercept there from Lewis Melican. Not the type of player that plays on, but showed some good composure and spotting up his teammate in the middle of the ground.
McInerney, arguably the Swans' best so far. Not his best kick though, he was from a long way out, but to the right it goes, through for a behind. So Sydney inaccurate early, 2-7-19, Fremantle 7-2-44, a 25-point lead to the Dockers early stages of the second term.
Clark, as he often does, strolls out of the defensive goal square, kicks long to the wing, but Florent was able to cut across in front of Tracy, take the mark, now kicks it towards the attacking 50. Ryan tried to claim the mark on the second attempt, and the umpire, well, either saw it, the mark clean, or was fooled by Ryan that he had clean possession, but he's paid the mark deep in defence. Now brings it beyond the arc to Jeremy Sharp. Matched up with Errol Goulden too, just genuine hard runners that'll go all day with each other. Brayshaw took the mark under hot pressure from Rowbottom. Some terrific matchups through that midfield area today. Brayshaw kicks it up to the wing. Tracy in front of McCartan, and McCartan beautifully done. Threw the fist in over the top and just whacked it towards the Swans bench. It'll be a boundary throw in right below our broadcast position here on the wing. The Dockers lead by 25 points, 4 minutes played in the second term.
Rowbottom standing Sarong, who's got 12 possessions to his name, doing all sorts of damage for the Dockers. Heaney does well to get hands to the football at the source off that boundary throw in. Florent went through the back of Fife. No whistle from the umpire. We'll have another ball up next to where the ruckman was standing. Darcy and Grundy, an engrossing battle. Fife wins it, gets it to Brayshaw. Dockers go inside 50. Underneath it is Young, over his head, and Melican taking the diving mark. Slip style here at the SCG in front of the boundary line. Good grab. He'll kick from the left back pocket.
Brings it beyond defensive 50. Big pack forms. Draper, big fist over the top, straight up in the air. Sarong had to take it running backwards, and an incredibly dangerous handball into the middle of the ground. Walker had a lot to do, managed to halve the contest If the Dockers can get away with a stoppage here, it'd be a big win, but Walker's tackled Rowbottom without the footy. Normally, such a good decision maker, Caleb Sarong. That was a terrible handball. Back into the middle of the ground. The Swans have it through Rowbottom. Kicks inside the attacking 50. McDonald in front, can't mark. Fell to Ryan. His kick was smothered. Back to McDonald. Now Adams shakes the first tackle. Little underground handball to Papley. Able to get away from an opponent. Feeds it back to Rowbottom. Has a player wide in Goulden. Goes over his head. He's got Tracy bearing down on him. He went to ground. Tracy won the ball. Now the Dockers are out on the wing. Sturt takes the mark. Has Young streaming back towards goal. Waiting for a target to come towards him. He runs too far. He took a bounce. He didn't take the second one in time. He had 3 or 4 options, and in the end, he chose none of them and held the ball too long. Swans have it at half-back.
But the Swans have turned it over. Blakey's kick is poor, picked off by Jordan Clark. Now Switkowski. Fremantle go back inside 50. What a reprieve for Sam Sturt, because he's the man who has marked it.
You have to capitalise here if you're Fremantle Dockers. You've been given the biggest get-out-of-jail-free card, particularly against the Sydney Swans. Big kick, but geez, went Freo out there, Joel. That passage of play, I know.
I was just watching the replay. I think he was stiff to get caught holding the ball. It looked like he took 12 steps, so I think it's probably justice that they've got a shot at goal here.
So Sturt caught running too far a moment ago when Freo were through on goal. Off the turnover has taken the mark. He'll kick from 40 out, slightly worse than a 45-degree angle to the right. For his third goal of the game, he hangs it out to the left. It doesn't draw back enough. Freo 7-3-45, Sydney 2-7-19. The Dockers lead by 26 points. 7 minutes gone in the second term. What a game of footy we have in store from the SCG.
Lloyd will bring it back into play. Go short, wide to Rampy. Able to roll immediately. Kicks it up to the wing. Clark was in a one-on-one, and Marty came across in front. Was knocked away by Ryan. And Adams fed the handball off. Received the free kick. The Swans take the advantage. Heaney zigzagging across the middle of the SCG. Was able to find McInerney. Wants to move it quickly again. Kicks up towards the leader. Papley sat it on his head. It's punched away from him. Lloyd took possession though, was able to give it back to Papley. Tumbling kick inside the forward 50. Walker spills it. Diving in with the Swans is Hayward, able to get it to Amadi. He's tackled out of bounds. It'll be a ball in, deep in the right, just inside right half forward for the Swans, as Josh Draper it may have been, or Brandon Walker just grabbing at the shoulder a little bit to see if he's okay, but that's not what the Dockers want to see.
Dockers putting plenty of pressure on the superstar Swans midfield. They haven't had it their own way yet. Papley in the forward pocket, slips over, allowed Fife to gather the football. Back to Wagner for the clearing kick, out of defensive 50. The toe poke forward almost set up for Fredwick. Blakey's there, he's caught, and the Dockers do win it back. Young on the logo on the wing, gets onto his left, looks for Sturt, 2-on-1 against him. In attacking 50, Braden Campbell does ever so well. Won the contest and kept his feet. He got it to Logan McDonald, and he'll spot up Tom McCartan, and the Swans can just breathe a sigh of relief. Trailing by 26 points, they work it up to the wing and with Blakey.
Blakey manages to get it over the back, has some space, takes off, kicks it short, punched away though from Grundy by Darcy, all the way up the wing to Banfield, turns, has a leading Amos inside forward 50, and he takes it. He's just beyond the 50 though, right out near left half forward junction. It'll be an incredibly tough kick. He's going to have a shot. It looks like he is. A couple of little short leads, but he's looking like he's having a set shot. Jai Amos.
Don't want to take anything away from Freo and the way they've played, but tell you what, the Swans are off. Just their basic kicking skills and their execution.
Giving them plenty of chances, the Swans. Amos, high up and under, goes towards the goal square. Big fist, sitting under it is Sarong. Took possession, took the contact, snaps it through for a goal.
What a footballer. What a footballer he is.
Caleb Sarong, under pressure from Isaac Heaney of all people, had to sit under the high ball, smashed into, rode the contact, snapped the goal for Freo's 8th.
I think Sarong, he'll end up being the Joel Selwood of that football club for a long period of time. But tell you what, Sam Darcy's effort there, Sean Darcy, I should say, just to come forward on Grundy and give him a bit of GST after a 2 there, Joel. But like I said before, the Swans are off, but I don't think we've seen Freo play with this much pressure probably the entire year. But you are right there, Garbs. They aren't getting it their own way, the Swans.
You want to see an example of who wants the footy more. That's it right there. Yeah. 50-50 contest, top of the goal square. Who wants the footy?
Yeah.
Sarong, too strong, and a goal's the result. Perfect example.
He had to sit underneath it with row bottom bearing down on him. Not an easy thing to do. Won the tough ball and then snapped it true. Here's Warner. Sydney need one badly. They trail by 32 points. They've worked it to centre half forward, but the Dockers win it back again. Hayden Young at centre half back with a clearing kick. Melican, though, leads Jackson to the footy. Tumbling ball back to centre half forward for the Swans. Adams gathers it, handballs it over his shoulder, and that's a strong tackle by Chapman on Wicks. Ball up inside 50 for Sydney. Down to Poppy Penny quickly on the boundary.
Brandon Walker was chatting to the Docs on the Freo bench, but he does look to be okay, looking like he's talking to the coach, hoping to come back on.
Grundy palms it down to Sarong. He's wrapped up. Caleb Sarong, 15 disposals, a goal, 6 score involvements. What a game from him so far.
At a 34 in the round 9 meeting. There he is again. Make it 16 as he gets the clearing kick from the contest out to the wing. Sturt had it knocked away from him. Fell to Campbell. Normally has a beautiful left foot from the pace of 50. Works it back beautifully. Terrific finish from Braden Campbell. The Swans, well, we'll say they needed that one badly, because they can come from behind, but the margin was starting to get out. They managed to find their third, though. 3-7-25 Sydney. 8-3-51 Fremantle. It's back to a 26-point margin. Almost 12 minutes played here in the second term. An update from Docklands. The Dogs, they're 4-5-29. They lead North Melbourne 3-1-19 in that clash. Mitch Turner, Daniel Garb here at the SCG, Joel Patbull and Callum Sinclair alongside us.
Well, they definitely needed it, but I think it would be silly to say that the margin's anywhere near too far for the Swans. 32 points back down to 26 now, but they need to get their game going, and bits of play like that can. Perfect execution from outside 50 and a goal that they needed.
Braden Campbell's first goal of the season. We haven't seen much of that from him in this campaign. His long left boot. That might get his confidence going. Fremantle, though, still lead by 26. The Swans get it, though, through McInerney. And now Warner. They go inside 50 again. It'll sit up in front of Amati, who left it behind. Off his 9-goal game, he's just struggling to get going, Joel Amati. Draper wins it back. And now Sharp and Chapman wax, and they work it up to the wing to Tracy. He'll kick long inside 50. Sturts underneath it. Brought it to ground from the back of the pack. Melican, though, recovered quick. Got it to Blakey, looks for McLean and McDonald. McLean at the second bite is able to take the mark. A relieving one at right half back for the Swans. 13 minutes gone, second term. Freo lead by 26.
It's his fourth contested mark, McLean.
Has stood up for them today. Hayden McLean has a goal to his name as well. It's been one of a few Swans so far to really stamp themselves on this game as kick goes towards half forward. Amati flew from the side, couldn't take the mark, falls to the back of the pack, trying to fight through the contact there was Jordan. He was taken in a tackle. It'll be a ball up just inside the Swans' forward arc. McLean this time doing the ruck duties, knocked it down straight to Chapman. Had a moment with the ball, hesitated. The umpire said, that's okay though. For a second it looked like he may have been pinged holding the ball. Not forthcoming though. Back up again in the ruck contest. Knocked down by Jackson. The handball from Sharp though. Stolen by McInerney. Gives it to Rowbottom. Kick towards the top of the goal square. Davies couldn't take the mark. It falls to Amati. And could that be the party starter for Joel? He gets his first goal. Couldn't find one last week. Has one today. All of a sudden the Swans get 2 in a row. 4-7-31, the Dockers 8-3-51, margin back to 20 points, 14 minutes played in the second. Quick thinking by Joel Amati to read it off the pack and snap the goal.
It was quick thinking, but I think probably the way that the Swans are going to have to try and get in this game now is play a bit more territory, Joel, get a few more deeper entries and just give opportunities to our key forwards to compete and at least bring the ball to ground, because they're probably not getting that free-flowing play of football that they've that they've had the last probably the last 10 weeks, to be honest. Guys like Goulden, Heaney and Warner aren't getting it on their own terms today. So maybe just some dirty footy and some dirty territory ball getting in their forward 50s will be the way to get back into the game.
Joel Amarty's first goal in 5 quarters after kicking 9 against Adelaide. A crucial one for Sydney. Freo lead by 20 points and they win it through Johnson in the middle of the ground. Now to Jackson. Breaks away from the Campbell tackle. His kick is smothered, but it falls the way of Swikowski at centre-half forward. Hamble to Amira. 55 out. Guides are looking for a target. Tracy at front position. Couldn't grab it. Rampy recovered well for the Swans. Got it to Florent. That's a dangerous kick, though. To a contest. It's still inside 50 for Freo as a result. Now Chapman just centres it. Looking for Amos. Cutting across was Tom McCartan. And now McLean has it in the left back pocket.
Kicks it beyond defensive 50. Doesn't get much on it. Jackson was able to come across and in the end take the chest mark opposed to a couple of smaller opponents. And he is outside 50, but he can go the journey here, Luke Jackson. Decides against it. Kicks it towards the top of the square. Flying from the back was McLean.
He's had a great game so far, Hayden McLean.
Terrific intercept mark. He's having some sort of day. He's trying to lift the Swans. This kick, though, kicked it to a 3-on-1. 3 Dockers there, and it falls the way of the Swans. Wicks fed the handball to Heaney. Oh, Heaney's handball was terrible. Missed McInerney completely, and the Dockers have it back through Wagner.
A let off for Fremantle. Wagner goes wide and finds Sharp. Darts around his opponent. Spots up Banfield. Left half forward. Swans flood back in numbers, so Banfield sends it to the pocket. Fife will leap. Punched away. Falls the way of Wicks. His kick, though, is over the head of McLean. That's not an easy thing to do, especially the way McLean's going. And Bailey Banfield will take the free kick out of bounds on the full. And he's 60 out, left half forward. Fremantle leading by 20 points, but the Swans have kicked the last 2 of the game. Banfield will guide it short and spot up Brayshaw. And he'll kick from 50, bang on a 45-degree angle to the left.
He can kick this too. He does get a bit in it, Andy Brayshaw.
Sorry, Garbs, I've dropped your pen.
It's all yours, Cal. 32 possessions and a goal last week, Andy Brayshaw. All-Australian, Doig medal winner at Freo. The captain today. Can he provide a captain's goal in the absence of Alex Pearce? It looks pretty good as to the goal line. It's punched over for a rush behind. The Freo are 4-8-32. Sorry, 8-4-52, I should say. Sydney is 4-7-32. Dockers lead by 21 points. 17 and a half got in the second term.
You've alluded to it a couple of times. We'll set it straight out, Cal and Joel. They're just making errors, the Swans, that is un-Sydney-like. This time Blakey kicks it up the wing. Coming across was Draper, punched it away, but Amarty was held by Ryan. So they win the free kick. The Swans take the advantage. Papley almost spilt the ball. Now kicks it inside the forward 50. Well done, Jordan, to knock it away from Clark. The Dockers defenders get back there in number, though. Johnson and Wagner looking to work it out. It's with the hands of the former Subiaco product in Johnson. Kicks it up the wing. Blakey did well, cut it off. Saved it from going out of bounds as well. Got the handball for the Swans. Are just willing the ball up the wing. Warner took possession, went to ground, got a high tackle for his trouble as well.
Don't know about that umpire.
And he dropped to his knees.
Yeah, that was a bad decision from the umpire there.
He slipped Warner into
very bad decision.
The knees of a Docker.
I don't think he was trying to get the free kick. I think he was just trying to shake the tackler, but he goes back in board to Blakey.
So Blakey 60 out from the Swans goals. Sydney trailing by 21 points. Spots it up looking for Amarty. Punched away from him. Still in a dangerous area though for Fremantle. Fife and Amarty wrestling away for the football. It spills free. Draper gets hands to it. He's locked up. So a ball up inside 50 for the Swans. 25 out directly in front from their goals. Grundy palms it down cleanly. Read well though by Amira. The clearing kick is missed by Banfield. Had the chance to take a clean mark, and now his teammate in Sharp's under pressure. Warner puts a tackle on him. A shout for holding the ball. Swans fans can't believe they haven't been paid that, and Ryan will send it up to the wing.
Tracy takes a strong mark. He must have got a boot to it. Must have just nicked it. Jeremy Sharp, because he flat out dropped it.
I think the umpire helped him out from Warner's one before.
Ball goes up the wing. Amos can't mark. Good punch from behind from Rampy. Came to McInerney. Now Goulden to Lloyd. The Swans through hands. Working it up the wing. Oh, Wicks just handball to Grundy. Wasn't expecting it. Sharp wins it back. That's those mistakes the Swans are making, which are uncharacteristic. As Brayshaw comes wide to the broadcast side. O'Meara has a runner over the top in Chapman. Has some space. 70 out from home. Kicks to Sarong. Just missed the target. Was all alone in the forward 50. The Swans able to clean it up, and Cunningham ran into Brayshaw. He was caught cold, and the tackle just had to stick, and Brayshaw got him over the shoulder.
That could have been a defining moment for Harry Cunningham, I reckon.
It's a free kick at the Swans. He goes short to Rampy, but these mistakes from the Swans, they just don't do that week in, week out, do they, Joel and Cal?
Well, you're right. I think Cow talked about it before. They've got to find another way to get the ball forward. Obviously, their run and gun game's not working. Their clean skills through the middle, it's just not quite working for them. So they've got to go back to basics and get the ball moving forward a bit dirtier. Just, get back to basics of footy and keep it moving forward rather than trying to get those handballs, creating something through the middle, which they're turning over.
Freo lead by 21 points, 21 minutes gone in the second term. Saturday afternoon footy from the SCG on ABC Sport. Boundary throw in on the wing in front of both dugouts. Well won by Matt Johnson. Got it back to Walker and now O'Meara. Good win from Freo at the stoppage. Wagner now sends it to half forward. Fife read it best, but couldn't mark it. Florent was right behind him, and he gathered the footy. Back now to Tom McCartan. Sends it up to half forward. Amadi and Draper underneath it, and McLean with another strong grab. That is his sixth contested mark, Hayden McLean. Excellent grab at half forward. And now pokes it 15 metres down the ground to Braden Campbell. He'll do the same to Errol Goulden.
No one else has more than one on the ground.
McLean having some sort of game. Errol Goulden, though, this is just his sixth touch. Fresh off 41 last week. That's an excellent pass, though, to the lead of Papley. Papley will kick from a tight angle, but from 50 out. He did that last week in the derby, Errol Goulden, where he spotted up Warner in a similar position with such a precise kick. Warner converted. We'll wait and see if Papley can to bring the margin back to 15 points in favour of Freo.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame probably because you're looking at the scoreline. It's funny how confident we are in the Sydney Swans. They're only 21 points behind. But if they nail this, you'd probably start to be a bit worried if you were a Dockers fan.
And nothing gets the SCG going more than a Tom Papley goal. It's coming back a long way.
Ooh.
Almost came back enough to go through. It didn't. That was a massive fade from Tom Papley. Only through Freo behind. 20 points, Freo lead by.
You're right, Cal. And the Dockers have almost gone back into their shell a little bit with their ball movement and how aggressive they were in the first quarter. And sometimes when you play too well away from home, you start to worry about the end result and how you keep playing like this. So they've just got to stick to their guns, keep that ball movement going.
Wagner kicks it up to the wing. Darcy was there in the pack for the Dockers. Couldn't mark, knocks away from him. Ball.
Well, it's probably a surprise for them, Joel, to be honest. It's going to be a real test for their maturity in the second half of kind of how they come out and respond. You definitely know what the Swans are going to do after half time, but if you're the Freo, you've probably got a bit more confidence than what you thought and might have surprised yourselves.
Saying their best first quarter in 3 years, so they haven't been in this position that often, have the Dockers. Ball back in play on the wing. Goulden starting to get involved. Little back handball to Florent. Spins on a dime, kicks it up towards half forward. And Marty flew, couldn't take the mark. Had Draper for company. Players dive in on hands and knees.
I don't think Will Hayward's right. He's definitely not launching at the football as good as he would have liked. He's just a bit one pace at the moment.
Taking the strapping off his knee, but not moving freely. Well done by Brayshaw to win the ball clean from that stoppage. Up to Blakey and Tracy on the wing. Florence there first, but the pressure from Fremantle is superb. And Switkowski takes him over the boundary line in front of the Swans dugout.
He's coming to the bench. Hayward again. Kick 4 in that round 9 game.
McDonald comes on for him. Warner back on the ground. Freo lead by 20.
Ball spun back into play. Grundy got to the front, trying to punch it to a teammate, only into the path of Johnson. Had Goulden for company, then it ricochets off the body of Wagner. Probably Penny downstairs on the boundary.
You mentioned Hayward there. He came off. He had a little bit of a limp when he got to the bench, and he gave the Doctors a little bit of a shake of the head, but he is sitting on the bench not being worked on, so he hopefully will come back on.
So ball be spun back in again for the restart. Darcy and Grundy go at it. Grundy got to the front. Johnson, though, coming through, got first hands. Brayshaw, clever handball in front of space to Young. Just had to get it in front of Frederick. Runs away from Lloyd. Runs to 45 and he couldn't quite get the finish. Would have been some sort of goal from Michael Frederick, but it's a minor score. The Dockers 8-5-53. The Swans 4-8-32. 21-point margin, 25 played in the second term here at the Sydney Cricket Ground.
We've seen Sydney faced with early deficits in games before. Usually by this stage, though, they're back in front. They trail by 21 points. It's another strong grab by McLean. Under the Bill O'Reilly stand, outer wing. It's his 7th contested mark. Goes inboard to Adams. Now the kick to half forward over the head of Heaney. Amadi gathers it clean from the pocket. He chooses to centre it. Looking for McDonald. Draper right there with him. Punches it over the boundary line. Boundary throw in. Right forward pocket for the Swans.
You don't want to go into your shell if you're the Freo Dockers going right now in the half time. With 90 seconds to go, Joel, you just want to don't want to leak a goal now. It would just be absolutely debilitating for them if that happened.
The Swans are hunting one here, though. Ball spun back in over the top of both ruckmen. Ball bounced on its end. Chapman got it to Brayshaw. Managed to get a handball away to Walker. Steps around an opponent. Now kicks a high ball out to the wing. Blake is in front. Just punches it away. Johnson had to sit under it. Was able to take it. Give it to Young. Has Frederick over the top. A minute left to play in the opening half. Can the Dockers sneak one? He's got a man all on his own inside the forward 50. Had to spin away. Managed to find him. Got the kick to Amos. Oh, he was all on his own for an eternity, Jai Amos. Fife just had to get away. And in the end had to use the outside of the boot to find the target and did so. And Amos will kick from a tight angle in the left forward pocket.
Yeah, you're right, Cal. It would have been terrible to leak a goal, but on the other hand, for them to kick a goal here and give them some momentum into half-time is crucial. Just a breakdown in the Sydney defence then. I think it was McCartan that came forward and allowed Amos out the back.
End-to-end footy from the Dockers to answer back to the Swans and push the margin back out. Amos executes, puts it through the middle, and he has 2. So the Swans with most of the play in the last 10 to 15 minutes of this quarter. The Dockers get one back for all that work. End-to-end footy, 9-5-59 Fremantle, 4-8-32 the Swans. The margin is 27 points. John Longmire will not be happy with that late goal to the Dockers. Cal Sinclair, Joel Patfull.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, we talked about how big that is. It's a 12-point turnaround from either side, but it gives the Fremantle footy team confidence going into halftime that they can still score playing this game of footy. They've had their backs up against the wall for most of this quarter, and they've been able to stick with it, play their style of footy, and get a goal going in halftime.
And the class of Nat Fyfe coming to the fore. He's had his critics in recent times, did ever so well at left half forward to find some space with the outside of his right boot, spot up Amos, who converted. Can Sydney respond just before half time? Warner. It's a back to Florent, kicks it long inside 50, off hands. Matt Johnson's there again. He's had a very good half with the outside of his right boot. Sends it out to the wing. Frederick takes the mark. Fremantle have a 27-point lead over the 10 win in a row Sydney Swans at the SCG. One of the best halves of footy of the Justin Longmuir era. Can they hold on from here for arguably the best win in the home and away season of the Longmuir era? Big second half coming up from the SCG. Fremantle, outstanding. 9-5-59. Sydney, 4-8-32. The Dockers with a 27-point break at the main break.
Goal kickers for both sides. For the Dockers, plenty of them so far. Sam Sturt has 2. Jai Amos has 2. Singles to Sarong, Jackson, Tracy, Switkowski and Banfield. For the Swans, all individual goal kickers so far. McLean is playing some sort of game. He has 1. Sam Wicks, Braden Campbell, Joel Amadi, all with singles. As the Dockers have jumped the Swans here and lead by 27 points at half-time. They only managed the 2 goals in that second quarter. But take it back to round 9 when these two sides faced off in Perth. The Dockers for the day kicked 4 goals, 15-39. The Swans 13-9. So the inaccuracy has turned around for these two sides in the opening half. It's a tale of two very different teams. as they both walk off the SCG. The Dockers well in control. Mitch Turner here alongside Daniel Garb in the commentary position. You can send your texts in 0437 774 774. As the Swans' 10-game winning streak about to end at 10. They won't make it to 11. In the box alongside us, former Lion, former Giants, Joel Patfull, former Swan, former Eagle, and for my own purposes, former Subiaco Lion, Callum Sinclair.
Well, it's certainly too early to say they're going to lose that winning streak that they're on. As we know, guys, it's no secret that the Swans can come back and score pretty quickly, but you're just looking at a few names here from the Sydney Swans. Actually, no, we'll go to the Freo Dockers. Caleb Sarong has been absolutely outstanding with 16 touches, 9 kicks, 7 handballs, 9 of those contested. Luke Ryan, we spoke about this guy, at the start of the game. I think he's been absolutely superb with his ball use. It seems like he's still been able to kind of play that kind of free-flowing, some sort of attacking and support role in the air with Alex Pearce out. But I think, Joel, if we look at the Swans, I just don't think they're coping well with Freo's pressure. And I think it started off very, very early from Freo. They haven't pressured like this for the entire year. And I think what's then affected them is just their supply. I think Haywood, Papley, Logan McDonald, Hayden McLean's a different story. He's taken some terrific contested marks, but they're not getting that real effective supply going inside 50. And for them to kind of get back into this game, they've got to play some territory, because I just feel like the midfield of like Warner, Heaney and Goulden, they love to flick it around and, wax with one another. They're not having opportunity to do that. It just feels like Freo are just pouncing on them, and they've got an inability to dispose to them. Yeah, you're right. So
pressure around the stoppage and clearance from that stoppage. So 12, they're Fremantle up by 12 clearance, so they're able to
massive for the
turn it over and get the ball moving forward. But you're right, Heaney, Goulden, Warner, 7 touches for that half, which would be the lowest that all three of them have had for the whole year, I would have thought. And they're not letting them play that run and gun like he said. They're still trying to flick the handball around, but they're not hitting the target because of that Fremantle pressure. They're turning it over in the middle of the ground, and then they're going forward. And they're still they're marking inside 50, 11 marks inside 50 for the half, which is a great result for Fremantle, and their efficiency going forward's been great.
Clearances 22-10 in favour of Fremantle. That is a massive gap. So the likes of Brayshaw, Sarong, Young, who's been really good at a big quarter, having a huge impact on this game. The two wingers, Johnson and Sharp, have been busy. So this sums it up. Errol Goulden, 7 disposals for 40 metres gained. He had 41 last week for almost a kilometre gained. So they have clamped down really well on him, the Fremantle midfield, and that is the story of the game so far, their ability to just put pressure on the Sydney superstars and not let them have it their own way. But we've seen this before, and they can turn it on in the matter of 10 minutes, and Fremantle will be aware of that, won't
They're actually playing the ground really, really well. If I came into this game, I would have thought Freo might struggle on the smaller ground compared to Optus, but they had a few coast-to-coast goals, particularly that one at the end there. I'll be honest, I think the Sydney Swans defence is probably a little bit in all sorts at the moment. I think they're getting out-marked. I think you've seen Rampy get out-marked. McCartan's getting out-marked. I think Harry Cunningham was very lucky to get away with, his disposal in the defensive 50. So they've had a little bit of luck, I think, the Swans to get back into this game, but it's all Freo. But I really can't... Caleb Sarong for me. I just think he's a terrific footballer, really.
Well, you talk about the Freo players clamping down on Goulden and Heaney, but it's actually not a tag. It's not a run with. There's not a specific player that's going with them. It's a whole team approach to stopping those players and stopping their efficiency inside and the outside run as well. You haven't seen Warner be able to break through a stoppage. You haven't seen Goulden on the outside and Heaney as well. So it's a whole team approach to stopping those players.
It's so interesting, though, because fans often say, why don't we tag? Why don't you tag more? Well, GWS did that last week, Bedford on Warner. It allowed Rowbottom so much space to do what he wants to do. The Dockers have said you can't tag one because all it does is open up space for the others. You all have to be at it, and they have been in the first half.
And it's an interesting dynamic. It's not a tag, but it kind of looks like Fife, who's probably he's definitely had a quiet season, seems to be kind of accountable for Isaac Heaney today. I'm just noticing he's going to him at a fair few kind of stoppages. It's definitely not a tag, but Isaac probably wouldn't have come up against someone of his height, size, and calibre. Not to say that both of them aren't having outstanding games, but I don't know. Maybe there's something in that, Joel, with Fife kind of going to Isaac at stoppages.
It does feel like Fife, for the 8 touches, has had more influence than 8 touches maybe suggests around the contest. Like you're saying, just getting a body in front seems to be his role today. And the other one is, as you mentioned, Sharp for the Dockers out on a wing. He runs all day. So when you've got a player like Goulden who also can just run all day, the Dockers have got a player who's more than happy, and Jeremy Sharp will tell you, listen to him speak, he's happy to have 5 touches if that's the role he plays. So he's happy to run up and down all day and just be mindful of an Errol Goulden on that wing, and it's working out for them.
Well, it's a good matchup. Like he said, he can run all day, and if he's not too worried about getting a heap of possessions, that's a perfect play you want to play in Goulden, because players allow him to just run up and down the ground. We've seen it so many times where he comes through uncontested through the middle of the ground, no one goes near him, he gets 3 touches in a chain. But if you've got someone who at least has some accountability, he's aware of what Goulden wants to do, you can stop him.
A little bit off topic here, guys, but Nathan Fyfe is an interesting one for me about what happens to him kind of at the end of the season. I'm just watching him now. Like, to me, I think he's playing a serviceable role today, but I did hear him on a podcast this year talking about his motivation isn't dwindled. It's just a little bit different. Do you guys see him in a Dockers jersey next year?
I don't see him anywhere else, for one. That's a guarantee. He will finish his career at the Dockers. He's been very open about that. I still think he has football to play personally, being over in the West. He does seem very content, as you've said, the way he's spoken about his role now. He seems content not being Brownlow, Nat Fyfe. He's shown us this year at times he can still do it. He had 37 touches earlier in the year against the Dogs or the Saints, it might have been. So he has shown that he can still turn it on when he needs to, but it's just not the role they need him to play, because in his age and the wear in his body, Young, Sarong, Brayshaw, they've gone past him now, so he's happy just to take a back seat. I still see him having a role to play next year. Personally, Joel, what you've seen from him today up close?
He definitely doesn't have that explosive, and strength out of the contest that we've seen in the past, and I don't see him breaking the lines and stuff like that we've seen him do. And he does look like whether he's carrying an injury or he's just sore from the season and age and stuff like that builds up. So he's definitely not the player. But if he can play a role that he's played today, he's definitely worth having. His body and his size around the stoppage is still definitely an asset to Freo. Whether he's in there all the time or he's a pinch hitter, I think is another story. But I think I think it's a big call for him coming up to the end of the year whether he plays again. But he's had a great career, and he's still a value to the Fremantle Footy Club as he is.
Plenty more still to come in this second half here from the SCG. The Dockers 9-5-59. They lead the Swans 4-8-32. Mitch Turner here alongside me, Daniel Garb. Our experts are Joel Patfull and Callum Sinclair. We will be back for the second half in just a moment here on Saturday afternoon footy on ABC Sport. But for the time being, let's pause and get the latest from the ABC newsroom.
ABC News with Satyam Weinstein. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has distanced his government from the awarding of a special honour from King Charles to former Special Forces soldier Ben Roberts-Smith. It's understood his decision was made in the UK to present commemorative medals to all living Victoria Cross recipients. It comes a year after a federal court judge concluded that Mr Roberts-Smith was involved in the unlawful killings of 4 Afghan prisoners. Mr Roberts-Smith, who's appealing the verdict, maintains his innocence and has not been criminally charged. Mr Albanese has told Channel 9 it would be wrong for the government to get involved.
This was a decision of the Palace to give all VC recipients a further award. There's ongoing legal action potentially on these issues, so given the government's engagement, it's important that there not be interference in that.
Energy bill relief worth $300 will start flowing to Australian households from Monday. The energy package goes further than last year's measure, which was targeted at lower income earners and businesses. Climate Change and Energy Minister Chris Bowen was asked whether government intervention on bills shows a failure of energy policy.
Absolutely not. It shows that we are providing real cost of living relief from Monday for every Australian with an energy bill in the face of the biggest energy crisis the world's seen since the early 1970s around the world.
One of America's most influential newspapers, the New York Times, has called in an op-ed for President Joe Biden to drop out of the race for the White House following his performance in yesterday's presidential debate against Donald Trump. The BBC's David Willis reports.
Joe Biden's rasping and rambling performance was painful. It prompted calls from some Democrats for the 81-year-old to withdraw from the race and make way for another candidate to take his place. But as party leaders were privately questioning the president's political future, he re-emerged on the campaign trail in the swing state of North Carolina, a new man, seemingly unfazed by the torrent of bad headlines his disjointed debate performance had generated, and clearly in no mood to step down.
Polls have closed in Iran for the country's snap presidential election. It follows the death of President Ibrahim Raisi in a helicopter crash last month. Voters have been able to choose from a tightly controlled group of 4 candidates loyal to the supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Polling was extended 3 times for a total of 6 hours in a bid to boost voter turnout. Political analyst Nijar Mortazayev says voters are apathetic.
The regime is dealing with very high voter apathy. In fact, the previous presidential election just 3 years ago had the lowest turnout in the history of the Islamic Republic. There's been a widening gap between the society and the state, a lot of grievances, especially among the young generation.
South Korean officials say North Korea is carrying out a widespread cultural crackdown. They say the North is clamping down on everything from wearing jeans and white wedding dresses to the use of slang as it seeks to counter South Korea's influence. A report released by South Korea's Unification Ministry based on the testimony of hundreds of defectors includes an account of a 22-year-old executed after admitting to listening to South Korean music and distributing films. North Korea has described the report as slander and fabrication. 3 boys have been arrested over a serious assault at Beenleigh, south of Brisbane. Jay Bowman has more.
Emergency services were called to the intersection of Alamein Street and Savages Parade around 11 o'clock on Wednesday night to reports of a boy laying in the middle of the road. Upon arrival, officers found a 17-year-old with serious injuries. He was taken to hospital where he remains in a serious but stable condition. Yesterday, a 16-year-old boy and 2 15-year-old boys were arrested. They have each been charged with 1 count of grievous bodily harm and will be dealt with under the Youth Justice Act.
A man's been arrested and police are investigating their response after a woman's body was found in northern New South Wales this morning. Emergency services were called to a home at Casino in the early hours of the morning following reports of a concern for welfare. Officers arrived and assisted the woman, believed to be aged in her 40s, but she died at the scene. A 31-year-old man believed to be known to the woman was arrested and is currently being questioned. The death has been declared a critical incident with all aspects of the response from New South Wales Police to be investigated. ABC News. Get more news at any time by downloading the ABC Listen app.
If you love country music, you'll love ABC Country. You get a fast car. It's Australia's home of country music. The music you grew up with. And you'll be the captain. All the latest country hits. I ain't proud of all the punches that I've thrown. And emerging artists. Because 24 hours commercial free. ABC Country. It's on your DAB Plus digital radio and the ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Amos, high up and under, goes towards the goal square. Big fist sitting under it is Sarong. Took possession, took the contact, snaps it through for a goal. Caleb Sarong under pressure from Isaac Heaney of all people. Had to sit under the high ball, smashed into, rode the contact, snapped the goal for Freo's 8th. Clearing kick from the contest out to the wing. Sturt had it knocked away from him. Fell to Campbell. Normally has a beautiful left foot from the pace of 50. Works it back beautifully. Terrific finish from Braden Campbell. Knocked down by Jackson. The handball from Sharp though. Stolen by McInerney. Gives it to Rowbottom. Kick towards the top of the goal square. Davies couldn't take the mark. It falls to Amadi. And could that be the party starter for Joel? He gets his first goal. Couldn't find one last week. Has one today. All of a sudden the Swans get 2 in a row. Johnson had to sit under it. Was able to take it. Give it to Young. Has Frederick over the top. A minute left to play in the opening half. Can the Dockers sneak one? He's got a man all on his own inside the forward 50. had to spin away, managed to find him, got the kick to Amos. Oh, he was all on his own for an eternity, Jai Amos. Fife just had to get away. In the end, had to use the outside of the boot to find the target and did so. And Amos will kick from a tight pocket, a tight angle in the left forward pocket. End-to-end footy from the Dockers to answer back to the Swans and push the margin back out. Amos executes, puts it through the middle, and he has 2.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
It was all the Dockers in the opening half here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. They lead the Swans by 27 points. No one has beaten the Swans here this season. The Dockers are in the box seat to do so at the moment, but we know just how good Sydney are in the second half. In second half quarters, the Swans are 23 quarters won, 5 lost the entire season. So not going too badly. The Sydney Swans in the second half. They ranked first in the third quarters, first in the fourth quarters across the AFL competition. Mitch Turner here in the commentary position alongside Daniel Garb, our experts, Callum Sinclair and Joel Patfull. Plenty to dissect from the first half, but looking forward now to the second half. Where does the change come from the Swans? Is it purely execution, or is there another change they can make structurally to get themselves back and firing and going?
Well, I think it is execution. Like we said, they've had so many turnovers through the middle of the ground that they haven't been able to complete their plays and get the ball inside 50. So whether they look at getting it on the boot rather than trying to link through hands, but get it inside 50 and I've circled McLean, give him a chance, get him deep, he's marking everything, so try and isolate him inside 50, get the ball in there quickly and give him a chance to kick a few goals.
Yeah, he's certainly steadied the ship for him, McLean, but I don't think there's many structural changes you can really make if you're the Swans. It just feels like they just haven't absorbed the pressure that Freo brought today. I think the real pressure now for Freo is, can they actually further that pressure going into the second half? It's a very exhausting process, and you just feel like, as we've said, Garbs, the Swans can just turn it on. But some numbers here that are very, very different for the Sydney Swans this season. Hit-outs 13 to 20. I think Sean Darcy and Lou Jackson are having a terrific game against Grundy, who seems very often very kind of, wouldn't call it disinterested, but he's obviously not playing to the level that he would like to. And
twice he's been hit in the back by a handball.
Right, yeah, correct. So clearances 22 to 10 in favour of Freo. Centre clearances 7 apiece, but stoppage clearances around the ground 15 to 3 in favour of the Dockers. So terrific effort there by the midfield led by Caleb Sarong, but I think Freo's going to be a real test of their maturity. And if they can walk away with a win today, that will do wonders for their next month.
19-point margin at Docklands as well at half-time between the Dogs and North Melbourne. 5-8-38 the Dogs. 3-1-19 North Melbourne. So a tight contest there as well, Garby.
Keen to see what Logan McDonald and Joel Amati can do in this half. So McDonald's 5 goals in his last 7 games coming into this. I know he's playing a good role for the Swans. He takes marks up the ground, but he's also there to kick bags. Hasn't done it for a while now. Amati, quiet after his 9-goal game. Sometimes the midfielders aren't going to be at the irrepressible best. Sometimes the pressure will be on, and you maybe need a key forward to stand up and deliver inside 50.
And that's been the knock on McDonald, to be honest. I think he really goes well when he's getting a really, really efficient supply. The challenge for him is when it doesn't come in like that, how well he can compete.
We've seen a big change. James Jordan now to Caleb Sarong. So he's gone off Jordan Clark, and he is straight to Caleb Sarong in the middle of the ground. Massive move by John Longmire. Sarong, though, wins it clear off Jordan. Third quarter underway and kicks it inside 50 for Fremantle. Won by Rowbottom, though. Down to Chad Warner. Sweeping handball to centre half forward. Sits up nicely for Hayward. And then they swoop on Warner, Switkowski and Fife, and they catch him holding the ball.
And they're the moments to give you a ton of energy as if you're a Freo player.
Big statement by the Dockers at the start of this third term. They lead by 27 points.
Fife goes short of Switkowski. Down on the boundary quickly, Poppy Penny.
Harry Cunningham's been subbed out with hamstring tightness. Just a little update.
So Harry Cunningham out of the game as the Dockers work it up to the wing. Caden Cleary comes on for game number 2.
So that could delay Harry Cunningham's 200th, which is set to be next week against St Kilda away.
Game 199 today. Might get it at home in the end as the Dockers go inside the forward 50. Darcy can't take the mark. It falls to Grundy at the back. He's immediately set upon by two Dockers. We've mentioned a number of times, Cal and Joel, their pressure is just up and about today. Fremantle, ball up inside the attacking 50. Neither ruck got it cleared. Tap to it. Hands and knees good and was able to get it out to McInerney. Now back to McCartan. Goes wide to Jordan. Manages a sneaky kick beyond defensive 50. It ricochets off the knee of Draper. Sarong couldn't take it cleanly or collected by a bump was Lloyd. In defensive 50 in the Swans, though, managed to go across the back arc and find Rampy on the outer.
Set up nicely for Rampy, who gave it to Nick Blakey. A couple of bounces from the Lizard. Running up that wing. Goes to Hayward and now gets it back. The SCG loves this. Nick Blakey on a long run and he spots up Amadi. Leading out in front of Draper. Sliding to his knees. He's marked it in the left forward pocket. That's fantastic from Nick Blakey on the outer side. Long run. That's 75 metres worth. And Amadi will try snap one from the pocket.
I just don't think we've ever seen a player 6'4" with the injection of pace and excitement that Nick Blakey's got.
Amadi runs around looking for his second of the game. It's across the face and through for a behind. So Fremantle's lead is 26 points now, 9-5-59. Sydney, a 4-9-33.
Joel Amadi just able to quite get started. He does have the one major to his name, but it's not quite a party today. It's a small gathering as the ball goes out beyond defensive 50 for the Dockers. Rowbottom won it back for the Swans. Handballed into space. McInerney had to track it. Did well to get a cheeky little kick over to Jordan. Kicks it back inside the forward 50. In front, McLean this time can't take the mark. It falls to Amadi. Papley swoops on it and check sides it through from directly in front. A little bit of panic back there from the Dockers. And terrific work up forward from the Swans just to scrounge and scrap a goal. Papley gets his first. The Swans get the opening goal of the second half. 5-9-39 Sydney, 9-5-59 Fremantle. The margin back to 20 points. 3 minutes played here in the third term on ABC Sport.
Well, that's that dirty footy that we talked about before half-time. Sometimes it's not going to be pretty, it's not going to be perfect, but if you get the ball inside 50 and your tall forwards create a contest, you can find ways to score goals. They're not always going to be perfectly executed, but you give your forwards a chance. You get Papley front and square, and they create goals like this.
Tom Papley with his first of the game, 24th of the season. Fremantle's lead cut back to 20 points. Early stages of the third term. Sarong, though, wins it clean out of the middle again. Scrappy kick inside 50. Free kick, Freo.
No.
Yes, it is.
Oh, sorry, Gubs.
So they gave the ball to Florent inside defensive 50, but the umpire had clearly pointed that it was a Fremantle free kick, and it'll be Sam Sturt searching for his third goal of the game.
I think it's down the ground from the stoppage.
I think it might have been
pushing
the one
back
just behind the immediate contest.
Perhaps it was the Sarong kick
Frederick
in the middle of the ground. Maybe he was pushed in the back as he disposed of it.
Yep.
Down the ground there to Sam Sturt.
There's 4 heads in the box here snapping towards that monitor.
So Sturt from 50 out, straight in front for the instant reply to the Papley goal. Strikes it nicely. Goal umpire moves to the right. It's through for a major, though. Sam Sturt has 3. And whatever the Sydney Swans are doing right now, Fremantle are responding straight away.
Tell you what,
they regain their 26-point margin.
Tell you what, I like Sturt, Joel. Particularly his kicking action in front of goal. Looks like a very, very, very natural forward. A great arc, but
late push from Adams.
It was down the ground. It was soft. Let's be honest. Very soft. Lucky break for Freo.
There's not much in it, but that's what you need when you're playing away from home. You need a bit of luck, and you need those goals to keep kicking away. But mate, Sturt is a great. I like the way he moves. He gets up the ground as well when he gets in behind the defence. It gives him something to think about, and he can jump and take the footy at the highest point as well. So very nice looking footy player.
Poppy Penny down on the boundary.
Sam Sturt came to the bench with a pretty wry smile on his face then, so I think he knows it might have been a bit soft too.
Sam Sturt. He's played just 23 games now in his career as the ball's back in the middle. Fife is tackled by Warner and wants a free kick, does Chad Warner. Not happy with the umpire. Ball will be tossed up again. The two number 4s, Darcy and Grundy, go at it. Comes down to Johnson. Manages to get a handball out to Sharp. The Dockers working on the far side. Sharp gives the 1-2. Now kicks it up the wing. Looking for Jackson. Malakin in front. Jackson edged him under it. Took the mark. Now a dangerous kick to his mate. Sean Darcy knocked away by the Swans. Ball dangerously back inside their forward 50 though. Bursting through is Hayden Young. Shakes the tackle. Handballs out to O'Meara. Oh, little sidestep was
Good
beautiful.
finish.
Kick on goal is amazing. Jager O'Meara winding back the clock. Big goal for Freo. Jager O'Meara. Well, he was a rising star in 2013. It's been a long time since we've seen some fancy footwork like that from Jager O'Meara, and the Dockers 2 in a row extend the lead back out again. 11-5-71. The Swans 5-9-39. 32-point margin as we see the replay. Cal Sinclair, Joel Patfull. Oh, Origin-like.
Well, look at it was the pressure around the bowl. It was the midfielders coming through and creating that turnover. But Jager O'Meara, I think, who's he stepped? He stepped Heaney inside 50. You wouldn't see that too many times either. Beautiful finish, and what a way to get the team up and going after half-time. 2 quick goals, give you some confidence going forward.
Chad Warner dwelled on it at centre-half back. Was far too slow to react. Luke Ryan swept on him and won it back in a dangerous spot. Chad Warner was complaining to the umpire straight afterwards. So a little bit bitter at the moment, the Sydney Swans, and that's a strong grab by Davies in his second game inside defensive 50 after Sydney won the clearance. Well done, youngster. Everything going Freo's way at the moment as they switch it out to Sharp in the right back pocket. 32 points they lead by. Maybe, just maybe. 10-game winning run of the Swans is coming to an end. That's off the side of the boot, though, from Sharp. So a free kick to Sydney for out of bounds on the full.
They went 25 rows in.
It's with Warner. He was stopped having a go at the umpire, goes short to Papley, but Papley's dropped the mark on his chest, and now he's feeling for his shoulder, a little bit hurt. We'll have a stoppage and a ball up just outside attacking 50, left half forward for the Swans, who are stuttering at the moment. Freo with a 32-point lead.
Grundy tapped it down, straight to Sharp though. Tumbles a kick, tries to get it past Campbell, did well the Swan to gather, gives it to Lloyd, kick inside the middle of the ground to Blakey. This time has to wait, there's a target presenting in Haywood. Still inside the centre square. Just beyond the centre circle, Haywood kicks it into the pocket. McLean sets himself from behind, couldn't mark, falls to Draper, he's immediately tackled. He's been clunking them all day. Wade McLean this time couldn't quite hold on to it. Ball tossed up deep. The Swans attacking 50. Grundy trying to do his own roving work, overran the ball. O'Meara was able to gather, give it to Walker. His snap around the body falls in the lap of Jake Lloyd, 55 from home.
Swans need one badly. Trailing by 32 points. 9 minutes gone in the third term.
McLean.
Jake Lloyd, two-time Bob Skilton medalist, spots it up for McLean. He grabs it. Cal Sinclair called it. He's had the sticky hands all afternoon, Hayden McLean. That's his 7th contested mark. He came in from the side, leapt over a pack of 5 or 6 and grabbed it. He'll kick from 15 out, slight angle to the right.
I think if you were Justin Longmuir, you'd be so disappointed in your Fremantle defence. He was having his hand pointed up for about 10 seconds. He's been their most dangerous threat inside 50 and around the ground for that matter, particularly in the air. How he wasn't manned up was an absolute disgrace from the Fremantle defence.
Well, he's carrying the Swans at the moment, Hayden McLean, on his own. That's his second goal off his 7th contested mark. A fantastic individual performance. He just needs a few more to go with him right now, but that's a big goal. Brings Freo's lead back to 26 points.
Well, Joel, you would know, like, as a key defender, surely if you're the Freo Dockers, this guy's the biggest threat on the ground. How he's allowed to have a free run and jump at that and have no one go near him for about 10 seconds before that ball inside 50 would be very disappointing.
Well, you would have hoped that they would have talked about him at half-time, that he's been so good in the air, like we did.
Yeah.
And you've just got to put some body on. Don't let him have a free run. If he gets his hands to it, there's got to be contact. You've got to make it hard for him, but to give him a free run and jump so close to goal is almost unforgivable. But
is that the Alex Pearce? No Alex Pearce,
Definitely.
No Brennan Cox. You've got Josh Draper back there, only a few games. Hugh Davies in game 2. Is that a little bit of the someone needs to take control there?
It's a pretty easy fix.
Ball back up in the middle. Grundy tapped it down the way of the Dockers, though. Sarong on hands and knees, couldn't take it. Lloyd was clean for Sydney. Got it to Grundy. His handball misses McInerney. Banfield applies the tackle. Grundy goes back in, trying to win the ball back. He's on hands and knees. He's desperately fighting for it. Is Brodie Grundy. He's still over the top of this pack. The umpire eventually comes in, will ball it up. 45 out from the Dockers' goal. Margins back to 26 points. Darcy taps it down. Jordan did well to take it from the stoppage. Kicks it up the wing. McLean this time having to do it below his knees. Did well to knock it towards its teammate. Players crashing in. Davies is there for the Dockers. Now Johnson. Got it to Wagner. Now Sharp on the outlet. Has it on the wing for Fremantle. Kicks inside the forward 50. Going back with courage was Darcy. Got it to Blakey. Grundy was absolutely crunched there. And he is down behind play in a lot of pain as the ball's taken over the boundary line for a ball in. Daniel Garb, I'll hand over to you, but he is pretty sore there. Brodie
Slow to
Grundy.
get up, isn't he?
Yeah, this is a big watch. He has been just about the recruit of the season, Brodie Grundy. He's now to his feet. I saw him limping about 10 minutes ago as well in the middle of the ground. So his body is coming for some punishment today. You said it before the game, though, Cal Sinclair. Jackson and Darcy need to work Grundy over.
Yep, certainly do. And if he can put him on the ground a bit like that, we obviously don't want to see players kind of hurt, but what it does do for the rest of the team.
Jordan Clark's actually coming off for Fremantle with blood streaming from the top of his head. So he's off with the blood rule. He's had the padlock released on him. James Jordan, the Sydney Tagger, that's what they call him.
And now Grundy being taken off, I think they're going to assess him for a head knock.
He didn't get hit in the head. It was interesting. The replay, Bailey Banfield got him. But it was the side on. It was just a big collision. So
yeah, it was a clean hit. It was a strong contest. Maybe when he hit the ground, he might have hit his head on the ground, but I don't think there's too much in that.
Ball's thrown in anyway, just outside 50 for the Dockers. McLean in the ruck now for Sydney, up against Darcy. Rowbottom fights for the football, gets hands to it, and that's a good tackle by Sharp on a Swan in Goulden. Goulden, just the 8 disposals, been quiet so far. And now Jordan has gone to Sarong. Well done by Young.
Good
Palms it down to Johnson. Kick to the top of the square. Off hands, falls the way of Blakey. He clears defensive 50.
McLean led the foot race. Ball bounced away from him, though. Got a shocking bounce. Sharp was able to take it and keep it in. Crowd thought it was over the line. Umpire, though, said play on. Shared it with Davies. Gave it back to Sharp. Short kick to Johnson, who he tried to claim the mark off a 5-metre kick. Was immediately tackled and somehow convinced the umpire to pay a ball up. Good work by Matthew Johnson there. Adams takes it off the restart, gives it to Heaney. Tumbling ball up the line. Davies in front of McDonald. McDonald tackles him hard to ground. It's over the line. It's all fair, though, in Love and War. It'll be a ball in. Just sport of centre wing for the Swans. 14 minutes played. Third term here at the SCG. Saturday afternoon footy on ABC Sport. The Dockers lead by 26 points.
The game just in a holding pattern. Can Freo extend their margin? Can the Swans do what they do so often, which is blitz back? Ball up, under the Bill O'Reilly stand, outer wing. Aidan Young drops the football, but then regathers it. The umpire, though, said you were caught holding the ball. Isaac Heaney winning it at left half forward for Sydney. Chisels one in for the lead of McLean and finds him. It's Hayward, in fact, sorry. We're so used to McLean marking the football, I thought it was him again, but it's Hayward who's been quiet today, out of the lead, marking it low, just above his boots, and the Swans need this badly. He'll kick just left of centre from 50 out.
It's a big kick, this one. You can tell the crowd's starting to get involved. There's a bit more intensity around the footy, and I think everyone's expecting the comeback. When are they going to kick the next goal? When are they going to kick a couple? But Fremantle have been holding off as far.
Will Hayward signed a new 5-year deal a few weeks ago. Second highest goal kicker for the season for Sydney, and that's his 26th of the campaign. Crucial one for the Swans. They bring the margin back to 20 points again. They are 7-9-51. Fremantle 11-5-71. Will Hayward with his first of the game.
It certainly was a crucial goal, and Hayward's been, probably a little bit quieter, bit quiet today compared to his usual standards this season. Got an interesting knock early in this game, went down to the rooms to get that assessed by the doctors, and seems to be okay. Looks to be moving a little bit one pace, but terrific kick there from Isaac Heaney, spotting up Will Hayward coming directly at the football, but you still just feel, Joel, that the Swans, they're not quite there yet, and there's probably a little bit of an extra gear to go. You think if they kind of kick one more goal, that self-belief that the Swans have got this season will kick into gear. So Freo have really got to stay on top of this.
Ball back in the middle, and Marty will do the ruck work for the Swans against Jackson. Jackson tapped it to Fife. Quick handball back to the big man. Runs out of the centre, kicks it towards the forward 50. Punching from behind was Tracy. Had to knock it away from a Swan. Fell to Banfield. He tried to spot up Young with a short kick. Couldn't take the mark. Frederick knocks it to his advantage. Young goes back and gets it dispossessed. Surely holding the ball, it was the padlock. As Daniel Garber's been calling him all day. James Jordan this time locked the clamps on Hayden Young. Won the ball back. Was able to go short. Still inside defensive 50 to the Lizard, Nick Blakey. How many nicknames can these guys have as Blakey now switches it to McCartan at right half back?
He's got some room to run and kick for a lead of McDonald. It'll sit up in front of him. Ryan was gaining on him, so he tapped it over his shoulder, but that set up nicely for Luke Ryan. Handball inboard to Sturt. He's got 3 goals to his name.
They're out.
Back to Ryan, and they'll just switch it now through Walker. Across defensive 50 to Draper. And now Wagner at right half back. Has Frederick free on the wing.
He worked hard for that, Frederick, about a 150-metre run.
Goes inboard to Brayshaw. Dockers controlling the football beautifully. Brayshaw standing smack bang on the sponsor's logo, outer side wing. Dockers kicking to the left of your radio dial or ABC Listen app. The Swans have men behind the football, so he goes short to Wagner.
Wagner has the ball in the bright. Boots out on the far wing. Goes short to Sharp, now back, retreating. Ryan has it again. Shaved the hair has Luke Ryan as he switches the ball across to Brandon Walker. Now to Wagner. Takes off immediately. Kicks it inside the forward. The Amos just found space on the lead. Got away from his defender. And in the end, all he had to do was slap the 2 mitts together and make sure he held onto it because it was uncontested. He'll go back directly in front, about 40 metres out.
I think you and I, Joel, had a look at each other there. That was really impressive with their ball use, playing really slow football, really, really patient, just waiting for the right opportunity. Joel?
I'll comment on that after the goal.
Yeah, okay.
Called it already. Well, he's directly in front. Jai Amos. Joel has backed him in. The kick is on the way. The goal umpire does a little shuffle.
This better be good, Joel.
Looks straight up, and he's got his third, Jai Amos. And what a time.
Tune in.
Get yourself into form. Jai Amos delivers for the Dockers. They answer back 12-5-77, the Dockers. 7-9-51, the Swans. It's a 26-point margin. Our experts in the box here, Callum Sinclair to my right, to my left is Joel Papel, who's about to deliver some of the best analytic work we've ever heard, Joel.
Well, I'm just agreeing with Cal. He summed it up perfectly, but they sensed the moment. They didn't want to go quick. The Swans were they're up and about, and they're getting the ball going forward, so they needed to take the speed out of the game, and they just found the spare up the ground as they went, and they did it perfectly. Like you said, they created space, they chose the right option, and they executed the skill perfectly inside 50 with a shot on goal.
Happy with that, Cal?
Oh, geez, that was good.
They have a very smart, calm, measured coach. The Fremantle Dockers and Justin Longview, I reckon, would have loved that. The bit of patience. Ball up in the middle of the ground, advantage paid to Sydney. Jordan wins it and kicks to the lead of Hayward, who's taken the grab out in front of Hugh Davies and then gives him a bit of work afterwards. So Hayward kicks Sydney's last goal, and he has the chance for 2 in a row for the Swans, but that will be either side of a Fremantle major. So a chance for Hayward to bring the margin back to 20 points.
He's, to Will's credit, he's finding his way back into this game after probably a tough first half, but not too sure what that free kicking advantage was there out of that centre bounce, but 4 disposals, 4 marks and 1 goal for Will Hayward.
This is what he does so well, though. Kicks important goals for the Sydney Swans.
Great kick.
And he has delivered another one. Hayward has 2 for the quarter. Sydney bring it back to a 20-point margin. It's a seesawing contest. They just can't get within that 3-goal break, Sydney. But they are knocking on the door. Can Fremantle keep resisting?
Well, it's a clearance battle at the moment, isn't it? It's whatever team can get the ball forward from stoppage is converting, and Fremantle have been so good as this game goes on. But the Swans are starting to match them, especially in centre clearance as well, being able to get the ball forward and hit a target. Hayward's so effective when he can mark inside 50, which has been crucial. 4 touches, 2 goals is a great return from any forward.
Just looking at the visual now with Freo's midfield, it's actually a really good, it's a fantastic setup, and they match up really, really well against the Swans. Sarong, Fife, Darcy and Brayshaw. 4 quality names.
The sub, Caden Cleary, in there on Brayshaw, and he just gave him a ski rope then. Brayshaw put 5 metres on him, took the clearance, kicks it inside the forward 50, falls off hands. Malikan cleans it up, handball out to Goulden. Oh, Goulden turned it over. Sturt now fires a handball to Tracy. Now to Brayshaw, runs into trouble, just has to handball it away. Campbell picks it up, wobbly kick off a step. Darcy's going back, spills the mark. Fife robes it for the Dockers. 30 metres out from goal. Switkowski spills it, could have been pinned. Umpire went to blow the whistle.
They needed a stoppage there, Freo.
Didn't pay it. Now the Swans go beyond defensive 50. Davies with a good one-on-one win. Got it to Clark. Now bandaged up. Kicks it inside the attacking 50. Punched away from Brayshaw. Tracy crashes through and is met solidly by Rampy. And as we watch the players clear, he's been paid the free kick for a dangerous tackle, which...
Don't know about that.
We'll get the thoughts of Cal Sinclair and Joel Papel here.
Joel wants it. He wants his thoughts. Over to you, Joel.
Well, I think the momentum's going there. He creates contact with Rampy. I mean, there's not much you can do. What can you do there unless he doesn't tackle or doesn't take him to ground? But it's almost impossible to hold him up.
It's a disgrace of a call, that one.
It was a lucky break for Josh Tracy. Now, they say ball don't lie. And Tracy proves them wrong. He puts it through the middle. And he gets his 2nd goal of the day, and an important one for Freo, because once again they just continue to keep that margin around the 4-goal mark. It's out to 26 points again. 13-5, 83 the Dockers, 8-9, 57 the Swans. As we see the replay here again, Joel Papfield, Callum Sinclair. He comes through with so much momentum and size, Josh Tracy, that there is nowhere else he can end up but in that direction. And Rampy just helped him.
Well, that's exactly what Joel said. I think when you're playing away, particularly against the top team, you do need a fair bit of luck. And particularly in this quarter, there's been a couple of, we'll call it pretty ordinary decisions from the umpires that have been in the favour of Freo. It's very much in the footy god's hands, wanting the Purple Haze to take home this 4 points. But I agree with you, Joel. That was a pretty rough call. If you'd be Dane Rampy, you'd be very disappointed, and you'd be making a complaint to the AFL first thing Monday morning.
Dane Rampy's 242nd AFL game. He's laid plenty of strong tackles like that, but they're clamping down on them now. Swans win it out of the middle. Rowbottom's kick inside 50. Cleary couldn't grab it. Recovered though. Got it to Wicks. Now Taylor Adams. The Swans need this. Adams has sliced it off the side of the boot. Out of bounds on the full. From 35 out directly in front.
Super clean hands from Wicks then to spot that.
Dockers preserve their 26-point lead. They go short to Clark. He's spoiled though in his own goal square by Wicks, who slams it through. Big mistake, Fremantle. Jordan Clark dropped the mark. Wicks did ever so well applying the pressure. Recovered, picked it up and put it through for a major. It's back to a 20-point lead now in favour of Fremantle.
Wow. I mean, what do you say? That's it's one of those things that you got to keep attacking the game and you got to keep going for it. But what are you going to gain out of a 20-metre switch into the goal square when you're under pressure? Let's face it, you know, the Swans are coming. You're probably not getting much out of that for a second game. He's just overcooked it a little bit, and Clark's dropped that mark. But that's the way they're going to win it. If they're going to win the game, they've got to keep going for it, and you're going to make mistakes like that. But a crucial mistake there.
He certainly made it work for it with that kick. Like, if you're going to hit it, you've got to hit it below head height, but
still should have taken it.
Made him jump, and put him under some unnecessary pressure, but I do agree. Should have taken that grab.
Ball back in the middle. The Swans answer back straight away. Sarong, tough, was able to get the handball to Fife. Now out to Sharp. Snap around the corner. Brayshaw got a little bit of space. Jordan closed it down, though. Did very well. Knocked it to his advantage. Then got it to Goulden. Good handball. Back to Rowbottom. Kick up the wing towards the half-forward area. This time Davies rises high. Punched it away. Sarong spun around in a tackle. Just handballed it forward. Fife was clean and quick in traffic. Got it to the run of Clark. Left foot kick. Tumbler inside the forward 50. Blakey immediately tackled by Amos. Sean Darcy does the roving. The big man kicks on goal. And the big ruckman kicks a crumbing goal, and an important one for Freo. And Cal Sinclair pumps the fist.
Who says the big fellas can't finish?
Oh,
I'll tell you what.
He moved like lightning. Like Lightning McQueen without the engine. Did Sean Darcy. He put it through. It's the Dockers 14th. Cal Sinclair's fired up.
Clean, below his knees. Look at the spread from the centre bounce. On his left.
The kick went as slow as he did, but it was a good finish.
That's why you pay him 7 years. Whatever he's on.
14.589, the Dockers, 9.963, the Swans getting into red time in this third quarter.
He was probably as shocked as anyone.
Do you pay two of them, Cal? That's the question.
It was Amos with a strong tackle on Blake. He fell the way of Darcy. He put it through. We've had about 8 changes between 26 and 20 points, I think, in this term. Freo break back out to a 26-point lead, but now Luke Ryan's caught holding the ball inside his own defensive 50. It's Hayward and Jordan around it, and it's Hayward who emerges with the football in his hands. So Will Hayward looking for a third goal in this third term. Having a big impact inside 50. And the Swans could bring it back to a 20-point margin yet again.
Yeah, he's bounced back, Will, because he looked like he was almost about to be subbed off. Like he could have been a possibility for that with the way he was moving with his knee. But pressure inside 50. Pretty hot on the holding the ball, but another opportunity inside 50, sorry.
Will Hayward for his third of the term. Just fades slightly to the right, through for a behind. So the Swans are 9-10-64. Fremantle 14-5-89. The margin is 25 points. 28 minutes gone in the third term. Saturday afternoon footy on ABC Sport. Long way to go, but can Freo hang on here for one of the more memorable wins in recent times for them?
Jackson flew over the top of the pack. Grundy, though, knocked it to Warner. Back to Campbell on that left boot. Kicks it inside the attacking 50. Flying from behind McLean. Couldn't take the mark. Trademark Tom Papley. Roves it, snaps it, goes and pumps the fist. Papley's got 2. Perfect forward crumbing out. He roved the pack, he snapped it quickly and he made it count. And again, it's just a seesawing affair around that same margin. The margin now is 19 points inside the 20 mark, the way of the Dockers. The Swans 10-10-70. Fremantle 14-5-89. And they're still just sticky around the Swans, Cal Sinclair, Joel Patfull.
Still definitely vintage Tom Papley, but I'll tell you what, the stand train of Hayden McLean to come out and make a terrific contest and bring that to ground. Papley doesn't get that goal without McLean's big contest. And he was a bit sore after that, Hayden, and good to see the boys get around him for a terrific effort.
How many times before have we seen Tom Papley liven up the SCG with a big goal and get his team going? Back to within 19 points. The Swans chant reverberates around the SCG. What have Freo got now? Brayshaw's wrapped up by Jordan, who has gone to Caleb Sarong in this quarter. Sarong had 16 possessions to halftime, just 5 in the third term. So Jordan doing a decent job on the Dockers star. Here's Blakey, tackled well by Johnson. Ball bounces free on the wing. It's with Grundy, then Goulden, now Warner at half forward, kicks long into attack. Over the head of McLean, McInerney. Swans have another one. Here they come. McInerney slams it through from 2 metres out. And this blitz that we've seen oh so often from Sydney this season might just be on again. The Dockers lead cut back to 13 points with a McInerney major.
And this is going to be the real test for Fremantle, Joel. to see if they can handle this pressure now. You feel the crowd's playing a little bit more part of it. Warner's now getting his hands on the football. Tom Papley kicked a couple this quarter. I'll tell you what, Sam Wicks is up and about. Can, the Darcys, the Sarongs, the O'Mearas, can they steady the ship there in the midfield and get the game back on their terms? You just worry a little bit that now that the momentum's coming back to the Swans.
It's amazing how quickly it can turn, isn't it? And it's Heaney getting involved, Papley getting involved, and then the crowd gets involved, and you see the confidence that they know they're only 3 or 4 goals down, they're still in the game, and they can keep running forward and playing their game.
This is the gear change we've seen from the Swans all year. They can just pile on the goals in quick succession, and they go out of the middle again. Warner gave it to Heaney. He kicks out towards Goulden. The big names trying to get involved. Johnson won it away from Goulden, then had to lay the tackle on Florent, is it? Under there it is. And the umpire comes and ball it up. It was almost a trip as the tackle slipped below the legs, but ball will be tossed back up. Young off the stoppage, broke the first tackle, caught in the second, holding the ball. The Swans win the free kick. All the momentum. Rolling towards goal is Adams. Kicks it inside the forward 50. Flying from behind was Ryan. Couldn't impact the contest. O'Meara, he dives on the ball. Papley dives on top of him. It'll be a ball up 25 metres out directly in front of the Swans goal. They trail by 13.
Fair shout for a high tackle and O'Meara wasn't paid. Ball up deep inside 50 for the Swans. Heaney with the snap. It tracks towards goal. It bounces across the face.
The excitement's lifted here at the SCG.
It's deja vu from so many recent weeks. Heaney, Goulden, Warner all getting involved now. Freo's margin back to 12 points.
The Swans faithful have found their voice a little bit too. Starting to get vocal in the crowd. Been a little subdued for most of the day as the Dockers try to chip the ball out of defence. Walker put it in front of Ryan. Had to go and gather it. Had plenty of time. Goes short to Johnson. So Matthew Johnson has the ball on the outer wing. Retreats back inside defensive 50 to Ryan. We see the Dockers do this a lot. Now back all the way to their defensive goal square. Draper back to the left pocket to Wagner. One side of the ground to the other. Now the release kick from Wagner is a shocker. Belts at McInerney, takes the mark, and the Swans have it back. 65 from home. That's the risk when you play that style. McInerney's kick goes in towards McLean. Couldn't mark. Papley, he was tackled, dropped the ball.
It's a great kick, though.
Roved it well. The kick from McInerney was brilliant to split the pack. McLean couldn't hold it under pressure. Then Papley, well, he was trying to make something happen and he couldn't. So the Dockers have the ball back through Draper.
Close to three-quarter time. The game in a fascinating holding pattern. Big leap from Grundy. Well done by Brayshaw to Rover, though, for Freo. Guides it to half forward. Gathered by Fife. Brilliant hands to Switkowski. Handball in ball to Young. He left it behind. It's time to pick it up, though. Left foot kick. Bouncing ball inside 50. Sits up nicely for Amos, but the Swans.
They butchered
the
that.
whoop on him. Blakey intervenes. Taps it down to Florent. They clear defensive 50. Darcy's underneath it. So is Fife. Fife wins out and takes the grab. And he'll chip it back to Davies. Have done this a bit, Fremantle. It's helped them control the game, but it also can lead to turnovers. Now Wagner kicks them long inside 50, off the hands of Sturt. Jackson's there, can handball back to Johnson, goes inboard to Brayshaw instead. His snap bounces towards the pocket. It's gathered by Rowbottom and now Blakey.
Blakey running outside, left back pocket, kicks to the wing. Draper and Papley in a one-on-one. Draper, too tall. Stood above him, took the mark, then under pressure, kicks a high up and under. Still time for a score. Ball off hands inside the Dockers 50. McCartan tackled, handballs it away. That should be enough for the Swans to escape as they kick towards half forward. The siren sounds, and we are set up for a thrilling final quarter here at the SCG. The Dockers lead by 12 points. The Swans are coming hard. It's 14-5, 89 Fremantle, 11-11, 77 the Swans. Their 10-game winning streak is on the line. We are set up for a thrilling final quarter here. The goal kickers for both sides. For the Dockers, Sam Sturt has 3, so too does Jai Amos. 2 to Josh Tracy, and then singles to O'Meara, Sarong, Darcy, Jackson, Switkowski and Banfield. For the Swans, multiple goal kickers across the board. Hayden McLean has 2, so does Haywood, Papley and Wicks. Braden Campbell with a single, so too McInerney and Joel Amati. So the Swans kick back in the third quarter to reduce the margin back down to 12 points. 2 kicks in it here at the SCG. Thrilling finish coming up for you. Stick with us wherever you are. This is Saturday Footy on ABC Sport.
Time to steady and pull the trigger!
Have you heard the latest AFL podcast from the ABC? Join myself, Catherine Murphy, and AFL legend Paul Roos as we discuss all the big storylines. Feed your footy obsession or just learn more about the game as we bring you all the latest news and analysis. Find the ABC AFL Daily Podcast on the ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Row bottom one at back of the Swans. Handballed into space. McInerney had to track it. Did well to get a cheeky little kick over to Jordan. Kicks it back inside the forward 50 in front. McLean this time can't take the mark. It falls to Amati. Papley swoops on it and check sides it through from directly in front. A little bit of panic back there from the Dockers. And terrific work up forward from the Swans just to scrounge and scrap a goal. Papley gets his first. The Swans get the opening goal of the second half. Bursting through is Hayden Young. Shakes the tackle. Handballs out to O'Meara. Oh, little sidestep was beautiful. Kick on goal is amazing. Jager O'Meara winding back the clock. Big goal for Freo. Now to Wagner. Takes off immediately. Kicks it inside the forward. The Amos just found space on the lead. Got away from his defender. And in the end, all he had to do was slap the 2 mitts together and make sure he held onto it because it was uncontested. He'll go back directly in front about 40 metres out. The kick is on the way. The goal umpire does a little shuffle straight up and he's got his third, Jai Amos. And what a time. Jai Amos delivers for the Dockers.
They go short to Clark. He's spoiled though in his own goal square by Wicks who slams it through. Big mistake, Fremantle. Jordan Clark dropped the mark. Wicks did ever so well applying the pressure, recovered, picked it up and put it through for a major. It's back to a 20-point lead now in favour of Fremantle.
Flying from behind McLean, couldn't take the mark. Trademark Tom Papley. Roves it, snaps it, goes and pumps the fist. Papley's got 2.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Three-quarter time here at the SCG between the Swans and the Dockers. The Swans, best team in the competition, so good at finishing second halves, and they're putting it on display already. The margin is 11 points as we enter the final term. Mitch Turner here alongside Daniel Garb, our experts in the box, Joel Patfull and Callum Sinclair. What a finish we're set up for.
Well, we're perfectly set up for a big finish, aren't we? We wanted the Swans to be tested and they're going to have to come from behind to get a win here. But for Freo, we talked about how good their ball movement was when they were slow and calculated, but then that adds such a risk if they aren't able to execute those skills. We saw a few times a turnover and then the Swans goal as a result from that. Centre clearance has been crucial as well. So if the Swans can match Freo around the clearance contest, it's going to give them a big chance to win this game. But it's up to the Swans. I think we're all waiting for the comeback. We're waiting for the tsunami almost to come through and kick a few goals. So if Fremantle can hold on, and there's going to be unbelievable amounts of pressure from the crowd, from the Swans players. So it'll be a huge win and they're up against it.
If I'm Justin Longmuir, I'm saying to Sean Darcy and Luke Jackson, we need you guys to have the best quarter of your year because they're going into their next 4 games against the top 8 teams. This would be a huge win for Fremantle and confidence booster for the remainder of their season, trying to secure their spot in September. But I couldn't agree with you more, Joel. You just feel like the Swans, they've just got one. If they play one decent quarter, they're probably going to take this home. And that's how we kind of feel this year. And it's no disrespect to the Fremantle Dockers who have been superb today. But I think overall, this has been a terrific game of football. Probably a bit better than probably what we would have thought, guys, coming into this game. But just looking at the midfielders now, Fife had a terrific quarter. That quarter there, Garbs, as you see, with 8 touches. But Sarong was held quite closely, but still had an impact, I thought, in that third.
Yeah, well, James Jordan's gone to Caleb Sarong, so that's a big watch in this final term. Fremantle, as it stands, up to third on the live ladder. Can they maintain that? Can they hang on to their 12-point lead? A massive final term from the SCG coming up on ABC Sport. Here's Mitch Turner.
Umpire has the ball in the hands, ready to go. Grundy v Darcy, as the bounce is incredibly average, if that makes sense. And the umpire will recall it. Took a long time to decide he was going to recall it, but a false start as the players reset in position. Now the umpire tossed it in the air. Darcy tapped it down, coming through was Rowbottom. Warner ended up with it, shook the first tackle, was able to get a kick away on the second, and Sharp again just outpoints Goulden. Like he has done so all day. This will be disposal number 22. As he takes off, kicks it up towards half forward. Strong battle between McCartan and Tracy. McCartan, terrific show of strength, protected the drop zone.
Bad kick.
And took the mark. It wasn't a great kick to Tracy, but a one-on-one wrestle, and Tommy McCartan did well. Now he sidesteps around Josh Tracy on the mark for good measure. Kicks it up towards the wing. Flying from behind Draper. Couldn't get a clean fist in. Fell towards McDonald. He tried to soccer it forward. Couldn't. Heaney did in the end. But it tumbles on end to Jordan Clark, who takes the intercept mark and now kicks wide in front of Sam Sturt.
Will sit up nicely for Sturt. He'll gather on the wing. Kick to half forward. Jackson's there. He fell over, but so too did his opponent in Melican. Jake Lloyd, though, is first on the scene at right half back for Sydney. He goes back to Melican. He kicks it up the wing. Sturt has front position and does well to mark in front of McInerney. Errol Goulden just at 12 disposals. Johnson and Sharp on the wings doing a brilliant job on him. One of the quietest games we've seen from Errol Goulden in his brilliant career to date. Bouncing ball sits up nicely for Jackson and half forward. Chisels it to Tracy. It was a short kick. Went through Josh Tracy's hands. Jackson, though, is roving, trying to gather it again. Swans win it back, though, through Rampy and now Blakey. Back to Goulden in his own defensive goal square.
Oh, almost run down by Frederick. Just got a kick away to McDonald. The Dockers missed a massive chance there. You paused on the short kick, and I thought you were going to use another word for a moment, Garby, because it wasn't far off it as McDonald, a long way away from home, kicks it up the wing. Draper and McLean battle for it. McLean did well, roved it, gave it to Warner, was too quick, ran away from 5. Kicks it up towards half forward. Papley and Walker collide. Papley goes to ground. Walker gathered, fed it back to Clark, and overzealous Tom Papley trying to make amends. Got stepped around. Clark's kick, though, cross half back to Sturt, set him a task, did well to get it back to Clark. Dancing on the spot. They're under pressure, the Dockers. Sarong has it deep in defence. Handballs further back to Walker. The Swans are pressing. Walker can't pick up the ball. Had 3 grabs at it, eventually did, and found the outlet kick to Draper, who can kick into the middle of the ground to Fife.
If that was last week, that would make you pay the Swans.
Fife marks at centre half back. Walker did ever so well before opposed to Papley. Papley tried to use his body. Walker just stood up to the hit, showed his strength and won that contest. As a result, the Dockers have it on the outer wing. The kick to Frederick is over his head. Punched away from him by Papley. Johnson gathers it well, though, opposed to McInerney. Sends it inboard to Brayshaw. Just in front of the wing. Brayshaw plays on now through the corridor. A kick deep inside 50. Tracy's there off his hands. Hayden Young gathers. And then falls away of Frederick. Back to Tracy. A handball to Switkowski. Looking for a massive goal for Fremantle. Switkowski just misses. The hand was up from Sam Switkowski. He thought for a moment it was a goal. It's through for a behind. 13 points the lead for Fremantle. Frantic start to this final term.
Goulden with the kick-out duties. Kicks it beyond defensive 50. Ryan and Draper fly for the Dockers off hands. Falls back on the bounce to Draper. He's immediately tackled by McLean. Swans fans wanted ball. The umpire will toss it up. They all tried to celebrate to try and convince the goal umpire, the Dockers, on that last attempt. Their arms went up like a domino effect from the contest. This time, Sarong dives in. Saw Switkowski's hand went up, then Tracy's went up, then Fife followed him, and the umpire put one arm up as well, just put it straight down after. As the ball's bobbling away on the wing, Switkowski tackled without it. Umpire said play on. Darcy got the handball to Fife, he spilt it. Now out to Heaney. His handball forward to Sharp, immediately tackled by Goulden. Will be another ball up. Right on centre wing, broadcast side of the ground. A 13-point margin the way of the Dockers as the ball gets tossed back up. Swans' kick was smothered, fell to Clark. High up and under kick into the middle of the ground. Who wants it? McInerney was the only one that went for it in the end. It ricocheted off his shins. And it's tied up with Clark and Brayshaw in the middle of the ground for a ball up. 13-point margin, almost 5 minutes played in the final term. Saturday footy on ABC Sport.
Grundy and Darcy wrestle. What a contest that's been. Darcy's had the better of it. Rowbottom missed his kick, so Freo won it back. Now it's Jordan Clark. It slices off the side of the boot, but two half forward and sits up nicely for Josh Tracy to mark in front of Tom McCartan. They are a long way from home, though. So Tracy will kick into the pocket. Jackson's there. Well done, Lewis Melican.
Excellent.
Worked Jackson off the football and took the contested grab. Short to Blakey. Possession number 25. Coming up for the Lizard. Sydney trailing by 13 points. Blakey deep in defence. Excellent kick to Heaney. Just at his shoelaces though, and he didn't take it cleanly, did Heaney. And now he's wrapped up by Darcy. So we'll have a ball up inside 50 for Fremantle. They manned up ever so well there, the Dockers. That was the only option for Blakey, and he didn't quite execute it.
Maybe a little too cute from Blakey, but he hits those kicks all the time. Heaney this time can gather it off the stoppage. Kicks up towards the wing. McLean, surprise, surprise, took the mark. One umpire paid the mark. The other umpire with a different angle said it bounced. So
I think it bounced.
No protest from McLean. That tells you all you need to know.
So the ball will be tossed up instead. Marty to the front of the pack, got in front of Jackson, tapped it down. Campbell swoops on the loose ball, spins onto his left. High up and under kick. Clark read it best, couldn't take the mark for the Dockers. Draper over the top of the sub in Cleary. Ball ends up in the back of the pack with Sharp, then Fife. Now Ryan just decides to bang it on the boot. Campbell v Switkowski. Switkowski took the mark. Has a runner coming past. Sharp again, just racking up possessions. Runs past, kicks it inside the forward 50. Frederick over the top of Lloyd. He had the jump. Lloyd had the position, but Frederick, he's just got the reach and was able to go up and take the mark.
He's had a couple of good moments, Frederick, today. He's not tearing up the stats, but you feel like he plays a really good role for them, Joel, particularly at half forward. Good run and dash, a little bit of a Will Hayward type. A lot of underwater running, but I thought he's had some good key moments.
This is a big kick for the Dockers. Directly in front, Michael Frederick kicks the opening goal of the final term. And if the Swans are going to come charging, the Dockers need to kick those and get a few on the board early. The margin is out to 19 points. 15-6, 96 the Dockers. 11-11, 77 the Swans. Before we hear from Joel Pappel and Callum Sinclair, Poppy Penny downstairs.
James Aish just coming onto the ground for Hugh Davies. He's been subbed out, so a little bit of extra run for the Dockers in this last quarter.
Yeah, you're right, Cal. He's looked dangerous up forward. He's getting up the ground. Plenty of run and excitement. Just his height. Then it was a great kick by Sharp, centering the ball. The Swans had the tools in the goal square. If he put it to the top of the goal square, gave Frederick the opportunity to take it at the highest point. And it's going to come down to moments like that in the game and who can execute well. And at the moment, these young Fremantle players are standing up under pressure.
Sum up your point, Cal. Michael Frederick, 7 disposals for 7 score involvements, and now a goal. Fife wins the clearance. The kick to half forward, bouncing ball. Banfield's there for Fremantle. Taps it forward, but it's gathered by Rampy. Frederick closes on him though, wraps him up. Well done, Rampy, to get free of the tackle. And handball to Campbell. And now Warner just throws it on the boot. It'll bounce in the middle of the SCG. Next to the centre circles, McDonald taps it over his head. Coming in to meet it was Hayward, but Fife beat him to the football. Handball backwards to Draper. Puts it out in front of Sam Sturt. 3 goals for Sturt today. He's kick inside 50, misses Frederick. Allows Blakey to gather. They love it when he does this, Blakey, and runs through the middle of the SCG. Tumbling ball inside 50. Walker taps it shrewdly to Luke Ryan, who can clear the danger.
Ryan kicks it out beyond defensive 50 into the path of O'Meara. Tracking over there was McInerney. Wanted insufficient intent.
I'm not sure of
but he didn't get paid.
Nathan Fife's disposals this quarter, but really clean below his knees. Really, really effective with his disposal. He's kind of winding back the clock a little bit today on Heaney.
Just looks so composed. He's not panicking out there, Nat Fife. This time he's going up against Warner. Warner was a bit too quick, gone away from the stoppage. Handball back to McCartan under pressure, then gave it to Heaney. Fife tackled him, back to McCartan. Kicks up towards half forward Jackson. Able to take the mark unimposed. 19-point margin. The Dockers still have the lead. How do they handle this? Over to the sub in Aish. His first real involvement goes back towards Wagner. James Aish, a lot of experience coming onto the ground in that role. Might come in handy in this last quarter. Game 178. Former Lion, former Pie, now a Docker. O'Meara's kick goes up the wing. Flying in front was Tracy. Couldn't mark. Fell to the back of the pack. Tackled immediately was Sturt holding the ball. Swans take the advantage. Warner through the front of the stoppage. Takes a bounce. Loses it. Has to go back and grab it. Now Sarong holds him up. And the kick goes into the middle of the ground and gets through the lizard.
Blakey takes the grab. Hits the ground running. Kicks to Hayward and marks it. Inside 50 at the second attempt. Juggled at Will Hayward. And will kick from 50 out directly in front.
It almost sums up the Swans for the day, that bit of play, doesn't it? Chad Warner running through the middle of the ground, somehow loses the ball when he bounces it, centres it to an almost turnover. Will Hayward able to take the mark inside 50. And he's looked dangerous since half-time. Will is created opportunities, lining up for his third goal here.
His third goal of the second half it would be. 11 minutes gone in the final term to bring the margin back to 13 points. It's marked on the goal line, but it went over. Hayward is having a half and a half. 3 goals for Will, delivering on that big, juicy new contract he signed a few weeks ago. He's helping just to turn the game ever so slightly in Sydney's favour. Fremantle's lead back to 13 points.
It's very interesting. The Swans definitely score from free kicks. They always look to play on. They always, as soon as there's a free kick, they always explore that kind of forward handball. I don't know if that's something tactically they talk about, but whenever there's a free kick, they always look to take advantage of that advantage play, but they just can't put them away, the Freo Dockers. You feel that they've had the real complete game, and the Swans have been a little bit off, and I mean no disrespect to Freo, but there's still a fair bit of footy to play left with, call it 10-15 minutes left and 13 points lead to Freo. There's still some time for the Swans.
The best final quarter team in the competition, the Swans, ranked first. The Dockers, they rank 6th. They're not too bad themselves either. The ball goes forward this time. Dispossessed was Florent. The umpire said the tackle lingered too long from Banfield. So Florent wins the free kick. I'm not sure what Bailey Banfield is doing. He's trying to chase. Okay, there he goes. Trying to chase Braden Campbell. I was wondering what he was doing. The ball ends up with Florent, still inside the middle of the ground. Sarong mans the mark. Florent steps one way, then the other. Now kicks it inside the forward 50. Darcy was out to meet it, couldn't take the mark. Aish gave it to Wagner. His handball stolen. Ends up with McLean. Little snap straight along the ground. Chapman did a little pirouette, got out of trouble. Gave it to Aish. Now Young. Kick out towards the wing. Rampy. Flight read him best. Was able to take the mark over his shoulder. Goes short to Campbell. Still a kick and a half from home. Now thumps it on the left boot. Kicks it towards the hot spot. McLean can't take the mark. Walker tackled immediately by Hayward. It'll be a ball up. 25 metres out directly in front of the Swans goal. They trail by 13 points.
I feel like McLean could have taken an extra 5 contested marks today. He's had a lot today already, but he's also dropped a few.
Bulldogs with a 31-point lead over North Melbourne. Same stage of the game, midway through the final term there at Docklands. Free kick to Sean Darcy. A groan reverberates around the SCG because the Swans are inside attacking 50. Darcy clears that area now. Strong contest from Tracy. Did well to bring that to ground. And to Hayden Young, who handballs to Sarong. From the middle of the SCG, Sarong kicks inside 50. Well done, Rampy.
Wow.
He fell to his knees opposed to Amos and still took the mark. The veteran for the Swans with a brilliant individual piece of play as Goulden goes short to Warner now. In the middle of the SCG, Dockers lead by 13 points. Warner's kick out wide to Blakey, hits him on the chest, takes the mark and keeps going. Nick Blakey from distance and swinging back. It is through. The Swans with another one. And the Lizard provides the beauty. Fremantle's lead cut back to 7 points. They've left it late, but the Swans are surging now.
Not sure who the defender there was, Joel, but I think if Lizard's kind of sniffing around from 55 metres out, running into forward 50, he needs to be pressed there from the Fremantle defenders, but I'm not sure who it was, but it just looked like they were going back. Who was that, sorry?
Sean Darcy.
Sean Darcy looked like he was going back there to retreat, and he probably should have pressed.
Well, there was Sean Darcy here.
Needed to press him.
Press forward.
Yeah.
Put some pressure.
And he's a little bit too worried about Joel Amati there, but tell you what, not many players can finish like that on the boundary, and he's just giving high fives to the crowd. How good is that?
The Swans haven't led all game. The Dockers have led from the second minute. Their biggest lead was 32 points. Ball back in the middle. Rowbottom tackled by Fife. Players crashing in. Fife did well. Got a handball to Johnson. Kick bounces off the hands of Florence. Switkowski met solidly by Campbell. This game has gone up a notch if it could have. The Swans have brought the pressure. They can smell blood. Grundy taps it down. Players cracking in. No one can say clean possession. Now Jackson's in there. He's tackled immediately by Grundy. Another ball up in the middle of the ground. Grundy v Jackson. Grundy gets to the front. Slaps on his boot forward. Warner spilts it. Oh, interesting looking handball popped out the Swans' way. Rowbottom had a fresh airy. Fife went down and picked it up. Was clean. Ends up with Clark. Now Brayshaw has Jackson inside. The ruckman runs to 50, kicks on goal, and he fades it away to the left.
I was up.
It was going to be a big-time ruckman goal, and Cal Sinclair was loading up the fist, but he couldn't get it. 15-7, 97 the Dockers, 13-11, 89 the Swans. 16 played in the final term. Saturday footy on ABC Sport. Here's Daniel Garb.
8 points Fremantle lead by. Still plenty of time for Sydney. We're getting close to time on in the final term. Ball in dispute at half-back for the Swans. Strong tackle from Luke Ryan on Braden Campbell. Hope you're enjoying the call wherever you're listening around the country or around the world. Saturday afternoon footy on ABC Sport. Fremantle trying to end Sydney's 10-game winning run. O'Meara soccers it forward. Bouncing ball inside 50. Well done, Campbell. He's had a good game. Spun free of a tackle, but then lost his footing and won a free kick. It's against Bailey Banfield. Campbell will take it from just inside the boundary line, left back pocket. The Swans are 13-11, 89, chipping away at this Fremantle lead. The Dockers 15-7, 97.
Campbell goes short to Goulden. That was brave by Campbell to go back in front of Josh Tracy, who was at full speed. He did not shirk the contest, and it paid off. Malikan has the ball at right half back. Short kick to McInerney. Presents up on the lead. McInerney's kick inside the centre square to Adams. Precision passing from the Swans. Ends up with Florent. Kicks it inside the attacking 50. Ryan leads the way, though, for the Dockers. Red at best.
He's been good today, Ryan.
Been great.
Solid down there.
Was able to take the intercept mark. Has more marks than any player in the competition this year, does Luke Ryan. He goes short, wide to the bandaged up Jordan Clark. Chips short to Draper. We've seen the Dockers do this from time to time today, and for that matter, for a number of seasons. They just, when they panic, they tend to possess the ball. Now they kick it long down the line. Tracy couldn't take the mark, got a valuable hand on it towards Jackson, though. McInerney and Banfield crash in. Banfield ends up on the loose ball, spins in the tackle.
The crowd's active.
There'll be a ball up just forward of centre wing, favouring the Swans. They still trail by 8 points.
18 minutes gone in the final term. Well done, Sean Darcy. Clean win out of the ruck contest on the wing. Got it up to half forward, and McCartan tackles Josh Tracy over the boundary line. It's tight in the clinches now. It's tense. A crowd of 35,477. Still a very good number for the Swans. 3 games clear at the top of the ladder. But the Dockers have the chance just to take something off them this season. Heaney to Blakey and now Goulden. Sydney go forward. His quick kick to Rowbottom didn't go 15, so Rowbottom plays on. And now kicks to half forward. Underneath it is Draper. Guided it down. Papley's there. Roved it. Kept it to himself. Got the handball inboard to Jordan. Now back to Wicks for another one for the Swans. It's across the face. Big opportunity missed by Wicks. Well done, Papley, to create that. Fremantle's lead is 7 points. 19 minutes gone in the final term.
You're a small forward out there. You watch Tom Papley, just never loses his feet, never goes to ground. Always keeps himself very active, involved in the contest. Very exciting.
You just feel that the Dockers are holding on at the moment. The Swans are throwing the punches. Can the Dockers stay off the canvas? Switkowski did well to win a contest on the wing. Got it to O'Meara. Banfield had to stop and swing back onto his left. The kick up towards Brayshaw. Heaney flew high, hit the deck hard. Could be hurt. He wanted a tunnelling free kick. I don't think it was there. I think Brayshaw just trying to go for the mark. He's a little sore, Heaney, but he's staying out there.
They are hanging on the Dockers, aren't they? This is the biggest 5 minutes of their 2024 campaign. If they can hold on here, this is going to take everything they've got.
This will define their season, this game.
It's a make or break moment for Fremantle in the ruck. He gets tapped away of the Swans. The sub Cleary onto it, taken off him by Wagner. Did well to get back on the ball, soccered up the line, and Nat Fyfe in front of Rowbottom. Two tough competitors go head to head.
And if you look at it, and if you're looking at the Fremantle Dockers, this 5 minutes, Joel, you're looking at Fyfe, Sarong, Jordan, Darcy, Jackson, those key players to really step up and bring these boys home.
Boundary throw in next to the Swans bench, just forward of the wing, attacking Fremantle's goals to the right of your radio dial to ABC Listen App. Matt Johnson picks it up. His handball, though, is turned over to Rowbottom. Now Warner. Swans get to half forward through Goulden. He gathers it. Quick kick inside 50. Well done, Draper. In front of Hayden McLean, and the red-hot Hayden McLean to boot. He takes the grab due to his effective positioning. Marks in front of his own defensive goal square. Fremantle lead by 7 points.
Draper just kicks it long outside defensive 50. Big fist from the back. McCartan falls into the hands of its teammate in Adams. Ends up with Goulden. Forward handball inside the forward 50. McDonald couldn't take it. Spinning through the pack was Papley. Gave it to Heaney. Kick towards the goal square. One-on-one McLean and Draper. And Draper stands up again.
He's had some good moments.
Big test for Josh Draper as he knocks it through for a minor score. Game 13. The Swans fans are lifting at the SCG. It's a 6-point margin, one straight kick as the Dockers bring it back into play.
Freo under pressure but holding on. Hayden Young gathers it brilliantly on the wing. Got it to Tracy, but then the bounce set up for Goulden from his handball. Inboard to Rowbottom. Darcy and Young swoop on him, but Rowbottom's caught high. Darcy didn't get low enough, according to the umpire, and caught Rowbottom high. Rowbottom 60 out, will just send it up in the air to a dangerous spot inside 50. McDonald marks for the Swans.
I tell you what, the Fremantle defenders aren't happy. They're calling for a shepherd off the ball there. I haven't seen the replay. I don't know what it looks like, but Logan McDonald sat under that footy uncontested for a long period of time.
He seemed to have a lot of space inside 50, didn't he? Luke Ryan's not happy at all.
He's fuming, Luke Ryan.
Logan McDonald, the boy from Bunbury. The Dockers want him badly in their forward line. He can level up the scores here from straight in front. Logan McDonald kicks his first of the game. And with just minutes left, we are level here at the SCG. Sydney 14-13, 97. Fremantle 15-7, 97. It has been the final quarter we thought it would be. 23 minutes gone, scores level, and the Swans have fought back from a heavy deficit.
We knew it was coming, the Swans fight back, didn't we? It was a matter of time before they were able to put a few goals in together and bring that margin back to what it is. But what a game of footy. 3-4 minutes to go. Who's going to make the most of their opportunities? Extreme pressure in this environment. Young Fremantle team. The experience that they'll get out of this game is unbelievable. So whether they can execute, get the ball going forward and create some opportunities is what it's going to come down to these last few minutes.
The Dockers have led for 106 minutes of this match. The Swans have not led. Scores are tied. Rowbottom in the middle. Shakes the Sarong tackle, then was caught by Brayshaw. Umpire said play on. Heaney got it out to Grundy. Now Adams kicks it inside the forward 50. McLean can't take the mark. Ball spills over the back. McDonald tackled. Handballs it inside. The Dockers win it back. Ryan's immediately tackled by McLean. We'll have a stoppage inside the forward 50. It's 45 out from the Swans' goal. Tied up against the boundary. It's 97 apiece. 3 minutes left to play as Darcy taps it to his own advantage. Spills the way of Sarong. Kicks it up the wing. Good mark in front this time by Tracy. And the Dockers start to stream forward as he looks for an option.
Fremantle starting to tire. They applied so much pressure in the first half and a bit.
They've still got to take the game on. They can't go into their shells.
Fredericks marked it on the wing. He'll kick Fremantle inside 50. Rampy launches above the pack to punch it free. Down to Heaney and then Florent. Good smother though by Switkowski. And he gathers it. Amos from the pocket. Across the face. It'll be marked though by Sharp in the right forward pocket.
God. How he thought to play on then.
He thought about playing on Sharp and then thought better of it. He'll kick from a very tight angle in the right forward pocket up against the boundary line.
Sharp had a shot to win the game against the Pies when they drew at Perth Stadium and missed. It ended in a draw. He has the chance for redemption right now.
25 minutes gone. We're almost in that period of time where this kick might just decide it. Can Jeremy Sharp be a hero for Fremantle? It is skinny side through for a behind, but the Dockers have the lead. 15-8-98, Sydney 14-13-97.
Blakey plays on from defence, kicks it up the wing. Draper again in front of McLean. He's held up so well in this final quarter. He kicks it inside the forward 50. Grundy spills the mark. Tracy roving and is tackled immediately. Josh Draper's
he's been impressive.
Huge contest. Huge contest.
Particularly his second half. He's been really good on McLean and particularly in some crucial moments.
Dockers lead by a point. Ball tossed back up in the air. Brayshaw spins out of trouble, snaps it ricochets off Blakey. Will it go through for a minor score? It hits the goalpost. It's a 2-point margin now. It's a handy point. The Swans will bring it back into play. The Dockers 15-9-99. The Swans 14-13-97.
26 minutes gone. Time against Sydney now. They have to go quickly. The margin is just 2 points. They work it out to the wing and with Warner, who ducks back inside around Frederick. Frederick says, how far did he run, umpire? Umpire says, play it on. Bouncing ball middle of the ground, picked up by Taylor Adams. Grubbery ball inside 50, goes straight to Luke Ryan. He turns around, back to Chapman. Freo in their own defensive 50. His kick smothered by Papley. We'll have a boundary throw in inside 50 for Sydney.
1 minute.
We are into the 27th minute. There is not much time left for the Swans. They trail by 2 points. Can Fremantle hang on?
No free kicks here if you're Freo. This is crucial. The umpires are hot on their whistle.
Ball spun back in. Grundy gets the tap over the top. Going without with O'Meara. Players diving in. Clean possession by Adams. Flicks it back to Warner. Shakes one tackle. Gives it to Rowbottom. Running past is Florent. The kick on goal. He snaps it and bends it too far. It's a minor score.
44 seconds.
They still trail by a point, and they've given Fremantle back possession. 14-14-98 the Swans. 15-9-99 the Dockers. 27 and a half played. Final term of the SCG ABC Sport. Daniel Garb.
We're inside the final minute. Luke Ryan will bring it back in and just send it up the wing. Blakey will leap for it. Off hands. Fremantle need to win possession. They do. The handball from Brayshaw. Ooh. It fell the way of Banfield. He took it over the boundary line. It was almost an Alex Neil-Bullen moment from Friday night. But it wasn't as deliberate according to the umpire. So a boundary throw in. Time ticking down. Grundy and Darcy. Dockers lead by a point. Blakey roves it and kicks to McDonald, who is marked and will have a shot from outside 50. 45-degree angle. A goal and you think Sydney wins. A behind and it could well be a draw.
Where did he come from, the Lizard?
I wish we had vision of that stoppage that we could share with the listeners. There was about 5 or 6 Swans players on the defensive side not manned up, and Lizard was the lucky one that came through.
Logan McDonald with a chance to win it for the Swans after the final siren. Sean Darcy and all the Dockers big men have gone down to the goal line because McDonald will kick from outside 50. Logan McDonald for the biggest moment of his Sydney Swans career.
No.
Oh, it might miss everything. It will.
Yeah.
Fremantle. McDonald didn't make the distance. The Dockers win by a point. One of the great wins of the Justin Longmuir era. One of the great wins in Fremantle history in the home and away season. Sydney's 10-game winning streak is over.
Dockers, in the most dramatic of circumstances, Logan McDonald, a shot after the siren to win the game. Any score would have tied it up against the side who is chasing his services from all reports. He had the chance to be the ultimate villain. He couldn't make the distance. A mad scramble on the line. I don't think any of the players knew the actual ruling of when the ball became dead, because they were all chasing after it on the line, Callum Sinclair. But the Dockers come to Sydney, stun the Swans, stun the competition, and escape with a 1-point win. 15-9-99 the Dockers, 14-14-98 the Swans. We're with you for another 7 minutes here from the SCG. Mitch Turner alongside Daniel Garb, our experts here to react to an incredible finish at the SCG. Former Swan, former Eagle Callum Sinclair, former Lion, former Giant Joel Papfel. Wow, I don't think anyone thought Logan McDonald was going to do that.
Well, what a game of footy, hey? I mean, I don't think, we thought the comeback was gonna happen at some stage, but to leave it to the last minute, unbelievable scenes. To not score, I didn't know the rule. I think it's when the ball hits the ground, it's time. It's done.
The attacking team can't progress the ball forwards.
Okay.
You can't punch it through as an attacking player, but if it comes off defensive hands in a pack, you can go out. You can't deliberately knock it through.
Yeah, but what a finish. I mean, Fremantle deserved to win that game of footy. They came out, they were brave, they were aggressive, they were bold with the way they moved the footy, and the Swans couldn't handle it early. They were always going to come back at home, but props to Fremantle. They came through, they executed, and they put it all on the line. I think it's such a great showing from a young team to really come out here and give it to the team that's at the top of the ladder, the Sydney Swans, that haven't looked like being beaten for the last few weeks, and to really put it up against them.
I tell you what, that brunch would have gone straight to the ABH there for an early afternoon beer at the
down at Cottesloe.
Down at Cottesloe, maybe even Little Creatures
maybe
down there
maybe
at Freo. But I tell you what, you are right, Joel. That they certainly did deserve to win that game, but they were really just hanging on there, weren't they, in the last quarter? And you felt like they came out with some real intent. I just want to make mention of one bloke. I think Nat Fyfe, particularly in the second half, really stood up. Nothing overly glamorous, but his cleanliness and strength over the ball and his decision-making by hand, guys. He was absolutely superb in that part of his game. But, Luke Ryan, I tell you what, and Sharp, in the absence of Alex Pearce, I think those two today were absolutely fantastic. Josh Draper as well was unbelievable, Gubs.
Got to give the goal kickers in just moments. We see the Swans walk off, Garby.
Logan McDonald walking off with his hands on top of his head. He has cut a distraught figure for the last 10 minutes or so. I've been watching him closely.
It's hard to describe to the listeners, but I think it was outside 50 on a bit of an angle. But if you gave Logan McDonald that shot 10 times and said, you've got to just score a point, he probably can do it 9 times out of 10.
Skewed off
Couldn't
the
have
side
come
of
off
the
the boot any worse than Logan McDonald. We'll have to get the votes as well in just a moment. We might make it down to the rooms, but before we get off air in a few minutes, I don't think we will make it down just in time, because we have to head off to the next game here on ABC Sport, which is, of course, Gold Coast v Collingwood. That's where some of you will be heading on local radio and the stream. Others, ACT, you'll be heading off to the NRL.
I must say, there's a really big crew of Fremantle supporters here, more than you would expect at the SCG. Massive. And the Dockers players, rather than going into the room to sing the songs, they've all been spending time over there celebrating one of the great wins in recent times for them with their supporters.
The goal kickers quickly for Fremantle. Sam Sturt had 3, so did Jai Amos. Josh Tracy had 2, Sam Switkowski, Sarong, O'Meara, Jackson, Frederick, Darcy, Banfield, all with singles for the Swans. Big second half. Will Hayward 3 goals, Sam Wicks 2, Tom Papley 2, Hayden McLean 2. Singles to Justin McInerney, Logan McDonald, Braden Campbell, Nick Blakey and Joel Amadi. We will try to get into the rooms. The Freo boys are slowly working in. We've got about 3 minutes, so I'm not sure if we'll get time for the song. We're awkwardly poised here up in the commentary position. Poppy Penny is down in position, waiting as the Dockers, they're just gathering beyond the change rooms. The votes, 3 minutes. Anyone want to put their hands up for the votes? Cal, Joel?
I've got a couple written down if you want to.
Joel, Cal's happy to have.
I'm ready to go. So I'll go. I thought Blakey.
We'll see if we align.
Yeah. Let me know your thoughts. We'll go Blakey 1 vote. I thought his run off half back, especially in that second half, really got the Swans back into the game and created opportunities for them moving forward when they were struggling to get inside 50. Sharp 2 votes. I thought he was great all down the wing. And also playing on Goulden kept him quiet. Ryan down back, I thought he was great offensively, setting them up and composed with their ball moving well when they had to hold it up, when they had to go quick. Thought he made some great decisions back there. 1
Blakey, 2 Jeremy Sharp, 3 Luke Ryan as the Dockers win by the narrowest of margins. 1 point in an absolute thriller. We'll head down to Poppy Penny in the change rooms and see if we can sneak the song in before we get down. Poppy.
Yeah, it's a very happy Dockers change rooms. There's not heaps of friends and family here, but they're coming in now to rapturous applause from those that are down here. We've got handshakes and high fives. They're filing in one by one, and there's a line of coaches and admin and staff all waiting to greet them in the rooms. They're about to huddle up. There is just so much excitement down here in the rooms. A 1-point victory away from home, and the Dockers are huddling up to sing the song. Here we go.
Statement win from the Fremantle Dockers, stating their finals credentials. They down the Swans, the first time Sydney have lost at the SCG this year. For our listeners, you are heading off to different places in the ACT. You're off to the NRL for the Warriors v the Broncos. Sydney News Radio, you'll go back to network programming. Everyone else on local radio and the AFL Extra stream on the app. You're off to Gold Coast v Collingwood with Quinton Hull and the crew up there at Carrara. Garby, Cal, Joel, quite a thrilling game in the end. It played out almost exactly how we said it would, with the Dockers holding on with the tight finishing Swans.
The Dockers up to third, a massive moment for them and their hopes in 2024, and massive for the rest of the competition. These Swans can be beaten. That is the lesson out of today, and the Dockers were fantastic in the first half, held on in the end. Huge for Justin Longmuir and his side.
And you feel like there's still a fair bit of growth for the Dockers as well. So great effort and great game.
Everyone else, we'll chat to you again soon. Bye for now.
G'day, Patrick Stack here from ABC.